Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This is the Board of Sewer Commissioners meeting. This evening is June 22nd. Time is 6:30 p.m. May I have a roll call, please?
Sandy Slavin.
Bob Scanlon. Ada Dunlop.
Jim Gibberti.
Bernie Pigeon. All are present. Up to the next one, Sewer Commission business. We have to discuss and vote on a transfer of funds in order to correct payments that have been made through a town meeting account that show a shortage as well as additional bills that are outstanding. We have, let's see, this happens because there's 1.1 million that was not moved at the end of a fiscal year 2021. The previously scheduled town meeting on June 12th, 2023 was supposed to correct this error, but has now been rescheduled on July, which is a fiscal year 2024. We must move the above amount in fiscal 2023 in order for the town to balance all the WCF accounts. Once the July town meeting corrects the original area going forward, we will not have this issue. May I have a motion, please?
Let's do it.
For a second, when are we going to get this approved at town meeting in FY '23 since it ends in 2 weeks?
This is going to be taken care of. It doesn't have to be an article on town meeting.
What is this, all the bills to warrant? What is that?
The document in here?
Is that what we're talking about?
I've not seen the document, that's why I'm asking.
What document are you looking for, Sandy?
The one you're reading from.
It was first on the, in the packet, I'm not sure, the sequence that is in there.
Huh? Can I ask why?
Is this the article that we put forward that didn't happen because we didn't get our town meeting in time?
Oh, good.
It alludes to that, yes, it being the 1.1 million. It was an error in which we had the money, and town meeting approved the transfer from one account to another, and unfortunately, in the background, the transfer never took place. And so this is making up for that failure, or for that omission.
So why didn't it get transferred?
It was an oversight on the part of accounting.
Like in the Biden administration?
Okay, I've gone through this twice. What does it look like? I've gone through this packet twice.
Is like this? Or like this one?
Yeah, 'cause you got to sign it in triplicate.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's, look in your packet there, so it's a sign, maybe in your bills. Do you
Yeah.
have it?
You got it.
This says $78,000. I don't see a 1.1 million.
I agree with the document. The actual one requires.
Well, the present balance,
Sorry, I thought I heard 1.1 million.
you did.
That's what caused the shortcomings.
The present balance in the account is 78,000. And there's insufficient.
Okay, normally then when this happens, we go to town meeting for a transfer of the funds to cover it. And we had an article pending for this. Are you telling me we no longer need town meeting approval for this transfer?
Yes, apparently.
It's not true. So,
Wait a minute,
Mr. Chairman, we have $300,000 in our present budget. It's left for unforeseens. This document allows the sewer commissioners to move that unforeseen within the existing budget, which we're going to put into the capital, which has $78,000, with debt greater than $78,000. If the $1.1 million was transferred at the town meeting, we wouldn't have this discussion, because without the 1.1, we've been taking money out of the budget to pay for the project that's ongoing to the engineers and the contractors. Because we allocated that 1.1 million in it's actually 2021. It never transferred. So now we have a shortcoming in this fiscal year. This is not going to take care of all the problem, but there's some outstanding bills that this will take care of that we already paid checks, and Judy wants us to transfer the money to make that portion of it right. We still need the 1.1 million transfer.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
This request is for $300,000. What are we voting on?
To move the $300,000 into the capital line. So if the beginning says,
Okay, I got it. So
Okay.
it's not the 1.1 million shortfall. It's because we have 300,000 left on one line on our budget that could be transferred to the capital line to accommodate some of those old invoices from 2021.
That's correct. We put 300,000 in the budget each year as an insurance policy for
And we
something
never-
unforeseen. We never use it.
I thought we used it last meeting.
I don't remember. We talked about it. I think it was talked about taking some of that money to hire somebody, which we can't. It's not available. But nonetheless, every year it goes, and if we don't use it, it goes into retained earnings. Well, this year, with the shortfall caused by the 1.1, we're going to transfer the funds to cover some debt.
Some.
And yes, so it's not going to cover nearly enough, but it's covered some to satisfy some bills we've already paid and then move forward. Because some bills we just haven't paid. We've got outstanding debt to the contractor and to the engineers, and it was supposed to wrap up June 30th, which it's not going to. So we're getting, the DEP to allow us to continue to keep the project open, because we can't close it because there's still outstanding costs due to those folks. So that's the skinny of the, that's the whole,
Okay,
that's
so-
the whole
Just
story.
rebalancing your accounts.
Yes.
So I will not support the request of a 1.1 million transfer.
The transfer amount is 300,000.
Yes, that's not what was in your motion.
I just read what was there.
Oh.
I didn't make a motion.
I thought you did.
asked for a motion,
No,
and I asked for a second.
you read
Okay.
the explanation.
I make a motion, we transfer,
Basically, it's all because the date's 300,000.
I make a motion, we transfer $300,000 from what's the line it's in?
Just make,
The
please,
unforeseen.
Sandy, would you, just a motion to approve the transfer,
I make a
and let the
motion,
accountant take care of everything else.
I make a motion, we transfer the $300,000 from the unforeseen account to the capital,
Jimmy, stop it.
to the capital line item in FY '23 to accommodate and pay some outstanding invoices left over from 2021.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Don't look at me.
I'm hoping. There being none? All those in favor say aye. I'll ask for a poll because it regards money.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Approved, 500. Oh, no, it is what it is.
Okay.
Next one on the agenda is the Bourne invoices. There are 3 invoices here.
Oh, look at Jimmy.
Is it the wish that you take them individually or collectively? They are for different usages, so why don't we do them individually? On the first one, the sewage usage fee to be collected from the town of from the town of Bourne for the fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $430,756.25. May I have a motion, please?
Seconded.
Motion. Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please take a poll.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next one is a commitment for the town of Bourne's share of the FY 2023 capital cost for the water pollution control facility upgrade in the amount of $188,477.53.
Moved.
May I have a second? Motion's
Sorry,
made
who
and
moved it?
second.
I didn't hear it. I heard the move, but I didn't know who'd said it. Bob, okay.
No, Pete. I'll take it, though.
Any discussion?
I've got just a question. Has Bourne been notified of the capital cost? It's 188? Yeah. They've been paying it since 2205. That's the one that... So I hope they know by now. Yes, they've been paying, yes, no, 205.
But if this is the capital cost of FY '23 and they've been paying it since when?
205, we pay it every year. So every year we make a payment, they pay a portion of what we pay every year. So we do this every year. We did it last year, year before. We've done
Yeah,
it since
anything
2005.
outstanding.
Yeah. So every year we bill them this 17.9%.
Okay.
And this was a special deal for the upgrade of the 2005 facility.
Any other discussion? They're being done? All those in favor, please take a poll.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 500. Third and last one is a commitment for the town of Warren's share of the FY23 capital cost for the water pollution control facility EQ basins added in the amount of $35,551.35.
Can I ask a question on that?
Certainly.
What percentage does Bourne pay of our capital cost?
17.9
So less than 20%.
for that particular payment, not in bulk.
So it isn't for everything.
It's not 17% for everything?
No. Just for the betterments,
Okay.
improvements.
I forget I asked the question.
Any other discussion?
That was a good question.
There being none, may I have a poll, please?
Aye.
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 Aye. 500.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is to discuss the votes on the various articles to place them on the warrant. They have to be approved and turned in by tomorrow, Monday morning, Monday. The warrant will close the following day.
We approved all these on 5/11/23.
That's correct, but this is for a new meeting, and I just going through the motions is appropriate.
Okay, because there was nothing in the minutes to indicate it was for any specific town meeting. It was just approval of the articles.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree, but it was just a formality. Any more discussion?
Do we do,
Where are you?
The first Article 1, construction costs for the WPCF projects, clarifier and headworks upgrades. I'm on C3C A of our agenda. For the 36 million?
Where you coming up with this 30, what?
it's not in the packet.
I'll make a note to GHD too, that their estimates, based on the 36 million for the 9.9% reimbursement, as well as for the 0%, and we will qualify for that, that they should include also the 17.9% reduction that we don't have to pay that is billed to Bourne. So we understand, because that'll lessen the amount that we have to pay on our side.
So do we have to make any adjustments to the article that we approved back in May?
None. As I said, it's just a formality on my part that we could approve it again for the SDM.
Does anybody have questions on that article?
So this is the article where we're still looking for the $36 million.
Yes.
And this, we have found out that we are paying the $36 million back, not with no help from the town.
Yes. I don't believe,
So-
you can't go out to the town without going for a 2.5 override.
Okay,
Really?
I don't care why we can't go out to the town. So 9,000 of us are paying back this $36 million.
Yes. Now, with the Finance Committee, we've gone through this also, and I've also read the Enterprise Fund as it relates to sewer and water, et cetera. And yes, we have to go through the users, not the town itself. That's my interpretation of it anyway, and that's my past experience.
Being one of those 9,000 people, EDUs, I'd vote against this and let the plant fail so that the town has to bail it out. And then everybody has to chip in and pay the $36 million to fix the plant.
I would suggest that would not happen. That we would we would not be able to go to the town because we have an existing entity. And if you allow that entity as a commissioner to fail, then it's not the town's responsibility, it's the commission's responsibility that they have to recover and rebuild the plant from the users.
Financially, as an EDU, I'm better off voting against it.
Your EDU,
It's
I'm
going
not sure
to
how
go-
this would be, I'm not sure how this would be applied. I haven't had enough experience over here to suggest that it either be an improvement, a betterment, but I don't know how you would do that with
If you figure the
rates.
$36 million over 20 years, even if we get the 9% reduction, you're talking about my sewer bill going up $200 a year. Why would I vote for that?
I can't answer that question for you, Peter.
No, see, you're not a sewer user.
Irrespective of that, and I know personally, I have empathy for the user and what the cost would be.
As a commissioner, where do my loyalties belong?
With the users.
The 9,000 people that are going to get this $200 increase, not with the town. You see my point?
I see your point, yes. As I said, I've experienced this conversation when I was with the Finance Committee, and frustratingly so, it comes out to the users are the ones who are have to pay for this, not townwide. Even though you would say a rational argument, the whole town benefits, irrespective of having or not having sewerage, because the service is there.
If the whole town benefits, let them help us pay.
Yeah. That's not the way it happens.
So do you foresee a betterment being applied to the 9,000 people to accommodate this one component?
They say I lack the experience in this issue to reliably say yes or no. My reading of the legislation and the enterprise fund and how it's governed, yes, the users will be paying for this. If they do not pay for the 36,000, you got a 10% reduction for one and then another 18% for another. You're not paying interest, so you're benefiting in that fashion. Comes down to, okay, you got almost a 20% reduction coming from Bourne, that expenses. Then you got another 10% reduction to 9.9. So now you're down to what? 2/3 of what is that, of the 36 million?
The amount doesn't change the rationale. The whole town benefits, but only 9,000 of us have to pay for it. It's just,
I'm sorry to say, Peter, it's just you're going in around in circles. But you're coming right back to the original statement is, yes, the users will pay for it.
Then this goes to town meeting, and it's placed on the July 24th town meeting. People are going to say, how are you paying for it? I want an answer. We cannot provide it to them right now. Is that correct?
yes, you
Well,
can.
by that time, we'll definitely have the answer and the amount of money. It's only appropriate we do that.
So this is just to approve to put it on the warrant and let the town meeting vote on it.
Yes.
So this is just approval to put it on the warrant. Any other comment can be sent on town meeting floor.
Because they're the ultimate deciders of what's going to happen with this and how it's going to be paid. They're the last ones and the only ones that can make
And
that
at
decision.
this point, as far as you're informed, as far as it's going to be paid, it's the users, the 9,000.
Yep, and I have to, yes, and I have to qualify that I lack the experience to reliably say one way or the other.
Who's going to bring this to town meeting?
I have to present it as chairman.
Excuse me?
I have to present it as chairman.
So at this point, all I'm agreeing to is to bring it to town meeting and get it for the people.
Yes.
Okay?
I make a motion that we submit article cost construction for WPCF projects clarifier and headworks upgrade to be placed on the July 24th special town meeting warrant.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
401.
No, yep, 401. Well, you're consistent, Peter.
Pardon?
That was your vote last time. You're consistent.
Next item is to rescind, place the article to rescind Article 15 of the 2022 Spring Town Meeting.
What the hell was that?
See, the town will vote to rescind the Article 15 from the 2022 town meeting in the amount of $3 million for the replacement of Swift's Beach sewer lines to Ruggles Pump Station. Again, to place it on the warrant.
I make that a motion.
Motion's made and second. Any further questions, concerns?
Was to rescind that?
Yeah, we did this a
Yes.
month ago, right?
We need to take it off the books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
And then we have to ask for it again?
Don't know yet. We haven't gotten that far on the agenda.
No.
Okay. Just so it doesn't make sense, I wanted to be sure.
That's excellent perception.
Pardon?
Excellent perception. Okay, may I have a vote then?
Aye.
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 Aye, 500.
This is fucking ridiculous.
Next item is repair Swift's Beach sewer lines into Ruggles Pump Station.
What about the transfer of the retained earnings?
That's next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the next one, that's after this one. See if the town will appropriate $3 million for the repair of failed gravity sewer lines, including but not limited to repair and replacement of sewer lines in Wakanoa,
Wonkinko.
Wakinko, thank you. Murphy Street, Columbia Street, Barnes Street, Pleasant Street, and Bayview Ave, as well as the payment of all other costs incidental and related to determine whether this amount shall be transferred from available funds, borrowing or otherwise, or to do or act in any manner relative thereto.
What was the RFP signed for? All these streets or just Wonkinko?
Which one now, say?
Well, you had an RFP you approved with Danny Warren Company.
That has nothing to do with this. He is repairing that street. It's covered under emergency funding, so it is not our appropriation.
So then how we know this $3 million will do what it's supposed to do, since we only talked about it, repair and replace Wonkinko, which is you're saying is being done under other money sources? Do we still need the $3 million?
I would ask then, what was the explanation for discussion prior to my arrival here?
That was the,
This is the same article that was on then.
Your backup on?
yeah,
No, let's see.
it was to include Wonkinko to take care of the gravity lines. Well,
Yes.
you're telling me the gravity lines are being paid from another component. I have no idea what the rest of this work is going to be done. What are we doing in these other streets?
You're looking at me and I wasn't
Yeah,
here. Please be.
Well, I didn't see the RFP. I have no idea what that was approved of.
The RFP was requiring Wakinko, and that's all.
Therefore, this was to honestly fund the sites that were going to be done with the sewer, with the
Contract
Grinder pumps.
001.
001 and the,
No, I don't know.
come on, what's the word I'm looking, grinder pumps. So this was a total replacement of what to repair because the grinder pumps weren't going to be done. So that's what this was for. I had no idea there would be a different RFP for only Wankinko. So this really makes this, I have no idea what it's for now, because it was going to cover the repair of those lines to be included that were no longer covered on the one we rescinded.
Well, when you're applying this article, let's say you're working it, and Wakinko's already been done, so you don't have to bid on it when you put an RFP out, because Wakinko will be left off it.
Therefore, what else do we have to do? The idea of repairing these were because we were going to replace the gravity lines.
You want to expand it?
Are we going to
Then,
replace,
then this is all you're going to be doing. These streets mentioned in the warrant is all you're going to be doing. If Wakinko's already done, you're
I
not
don't
going to
think
do
we
it.
need this. This was there to take care of the other lines, to have a repair to the gravity lines.
We still need it.
But what are we going to do? I have nobody come to me to tell me what more work needs to be done on those lines. So are we wrong in asking for money that we can't tell what it's for? Someone tell me what $3 million is for, says it isn't including Wankinko.
Dig a hole and fix the pipes. Dig a hole and fix the pipes.
Well, I didn't think we were going to dig holes, which is why we weren't going to do this. That's why there was going to be a completely different line.
Wankinko. Yeah, right now.
Right now.
So yes, we don't know
So I think
the $3 million is specifically going to be for.
we don't know what the rest of the
in this
project
case.
is.
Exactly.
So to me, this is, we don't submit this. Unless you people feel, I mean, I don't know what it's for.
I totally agree with you, Sandy. We
This-
were going to spend,
Yeah, there were costs involved with the grinder pump projects.
we
that
were going
ran
to
into
spend
that.
2.5 million and get all new piping on Murphy, Bayview, Pleasant, Wankinko to Swift's Beach and Columbia.
A solid
All
system,
new pipe.
a solid system.
So we would not have to fix Wantico. Now you're saying you're just going to fix Wantico.
No, Wankiko is a totally separate issue now. It's funded totally separately from this. It's not involved with us at all.
But the point Sandy's trying to make is if we fix just Wantico and then go back and do a project similar to what contract 001 was, we've wasted money fixing Wantico.
If we
Okay,
fix
well-
Wankinko, we don't have to do anything else.
Then why-
That's
That's
my
not
understanding.
true, because we won't have taken any care of any of the I&I.
Only on Wankinko.
Okay, my suggestion, the article, delete Wakinko.
Excuse me?
Delete Wakinko. Don't even mention it. It's irrelevant. It's being taken care of another way. Delete the Wakinko from this article.
This
$1
says,
million to fix those other streets, whatever is necessary for them.
this is to repair the failed
I see-
gravity sewer lines.
Do we have a copy of that?
This one?
Yeah.
We voted on it in May 11th. You were all given copies at that time, when we voted on it.
What you just read, I've never seen before.
Peter, you voted and
No, this is the
accepted it on
original-
May
The
11th.
original article,
Yeah, this was,
my copy.
We rescinded and then we asked for a new article.
Okay. So what point are we at now?
We're trying to see if we want this repair article placed on the warrant. I don't know what we're repairing. Because it was all focused on putting in a line that was not a gravity line. It was a closed system with everybody with grinder pumps. That was what the first $3 million was. there was no intent to do anything more other than a non-gravity line. Now that we're repairing Waukeco, I need someone to tell me what more needs to be done in that location. Because we were all going to do grinder pumps, and that was what the first
The
article.
reason for the grinder pumps is because all of the other pipes are the same age as Waukeco, and they're 8 feet and so far down, they
They-
leak.
no,
We
they-
have I&I.
Yeah, those old lines were totally to be abandoned and replaced with a new one.
Listen, I'm agreeing with
Are
you.
we now saying we're going to abandon our gravity lines and put in something else?
No,
What are we gonna do about fixing the other streets?
reline them.
Now, how much is that gonna cost?
We have no
I
idea.
don't know, but it's not gonna be the expense that Waukeco is.
To reline the 130 homes, or Murphy, Bayview, Pleasant, Columbia, and Waukeco. How much to reline them, and how much to fix Waukeco? Is it going to be above the $3 million we originally got okayed
You won't
to
know that.
handle that in a different way
Yeah, I don't-
under contract 001?
Yeah, I don't think so. I know when they relined Waukeco and it failed, that was, the bid was $199,000 to do that street.
You only know when you get an RFP whether or not it's going to be less than or greater than 3 million.
But what are we doing?
Well, let me put it this way. You have the opportunity to create a circumstances where that area will be relined or something to that effect. If you don't put that article before that, you're going to be waiting till the next annual town meeting,
Yeah.
if at all.
This
Oh, in
stuff,
October.
The last minute, it's gotta be done, it's gotta stop.
This isn't last minute. Gosh, this has been going on for 5, 6
But-
months now, this discussion.
You don't know what we're going to do to fix those streets.
Gonna
You can't
reline
tell.
it. The only thing you can do is reline the pipe in some way.
Then if that's the case, this article should be written to say, instead of repair of the failed gravity lines, relining should be part of this article. It should be more specific as what we plan to do on these substreets. To me, this is, now that we've got something that RFP to fix Waukeco with Danny Warren's project, it changes what we do for these side streets, and to me, this article needs to reflect that type of change. The focus was to take care of
Whatever you
fixing the
needed,
failed gravity sewer lines.
whatever was necessary to be done 6 months ago in this discussion regarding this article, because it hasn't changed at all since then, is what needs to be done today.
This article wasn't 6 months ago. This article was why we still had grinder pumps. Once we stopped the grinder pumps, this article, we haven't had any engineer in front of us to tell us what is to be done now that we're no longer doing a solid system.
Okay, so if we put this off, what are the ramifications of that? To get a more specific plan for
Our next,
the rest,
our next opportunity is an October town meeting.
okay?
It's assuming you have you want an engineering report, because that's what you're looking for, an engineering report that'll tell you what the needs are. Now, you gotta fund that, and that won't be funded until the next fall town meeting.
Okay,
That's just funding the engineering. So those people down there, whatever they're dealing with beyond Waukeco,
Or we
Won't be done
change,
until
or
for
we
another
change,
year.
or we change this article to include the cost of engineering funding.
yeah.
then you have to write the language, be specific as to the cost you want to appropriate for it.
Will you tell me what's an engineering cost? What did engineering cost us to do that article of that project 001?
I'm just giving you the time frame now.
Yeah, I'm well aware of the time.
Because this has to be in by Monday if you want to be on this special.
Tuesday. Yes. So, folks, what do you want to do? I mean, I'm not comfortable asking for 3 million when I can't tell anybody at town meeting what that 3 million is going to be used for and what are we going to do for these side streets. I don't know.
Do we know what it's going to cost to fix Waukeco?
2.8,
Just to fix Waukeco?
that's what the bids came in as. You have the Bid results there.
It was gonna cost us 2.54 to do the entire project, but that was with grinder pumps. And we wouldn't have to fix Waukegan. How do we justify that?
Well, the town meeting's already rejected or canceled the contract to bring in grinder pumps and all.
They
So that's-
canceled the
that's a moot
contract
po-
because
That's a moot point.
it was stuffed down their throat, and I totally agree with them. The
Town
way it
meeting
was
didn't do
presented
that.
to them was
Town
wrong.
meeting didn't do that.
They rescinded the contract at the last town meeting.
At town meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, that was 001. No, it didn't get, it got canceled at that hybrid meeting that was held over in Town Hall.
The the vote at the town meeting was to recommend that the
It
sewer
was-
commissioners.
You're
Do
correct.
something.
That was the wording.
You're correct.
So that was not a form approval, it was a recommendation, and we
right.
accepted that, we accepted,
At this meeting here.
and we
Not
accepted that
here. It was that when
recommendation.
you and I were on
So
television.
town meeting did not approve it.
Yeah,
They
you're right.
recommended that we cancel, we canceled it here.
Recommendation.
Yes,
Right.
The approval
So
was
I don't
done
want
at the
it-
meeting.
yep,
Canceled it at a meeting, it was at the
Yes,
meeting,
we
it was a
canceled it.
Hybrid meeting.
yep.
That was the meeting that I asked, are we entitled to cancel a contract that we didn't sign?
Yes,
And Derek,
okay. So what do you want to do about funding these side streets, since we have no idea what we're going to be asking the $3 million for? Or do you want to modify this for an engineering plan?
I think we should modify it for an engineering plan for the relining of the,
For the,
repair relining of the.
for the repair of the failed gravity sewer lines,
Yes.
not limited to repair and placement, so we can modify this to an engineer. Now, the question is, how much did we spend on the engineering plan for the grinder pumps? Guy, any idea what we spent on the last engineering plan?
I think it was $323,000. Don't hold me to it, but it was in that area.
It's about that.
I think your present engineering
About
plans are
300.
around $144,000.
but it was Beta that did that, yeah.
Do I modify this?
300,000 in this. You're looking at, what are we looking at, 3 million in this?
Yes.
Okay, so 300,000. Engineering. Engineering's about 10% or whatever the figure is.
Now, take a look at this article. Do I change any wording regarding the source funding of the
I don't
funding?
have the article in front of me to read, so I can't tell you what you need to change. So. Repair or line, I just add repair or line.
Sorry?
I put in repair or line. So that we've got a choice of what we do when it comes down to that. We don't have to wait a year to get this damn thing done. I like to throw these roadblocks up and delay things all the time. Pain on the tail.
So no one, see if I can find another copy.
Have my copy there, please.
What's that? Oh, sorry, yep.
You want to pass that down to Jimmy so he can read what has for funding? It says repair Swift Speech sewer line, language on RFP. What did that mean? On the agenda, it says language on RFP.
I had initially was questioning the way it was written insofar it had all those streets listed on it, and it was suggested just leave it as is.
And that was in the RFP? Or that was another discussion?
Well, I haven't seen the RFP itself that would take care of Winkinko, but I had questions regarding that, so I don't any longer, so that's,
Because I'm not sure all these fundings are available for something that's an engineering plan.
I know, as far as what you're doing, I would not recommend it.
Sorry?
As far as what you're intending to do, I wouldn't recommend it. However, I qualify that, understand, I haven't been here that long to go through the original process that you went for proposing this issue. That's when all these questions and like should have been resolved, and apparently they were not.
Well, a lot of stuff changed when we rescinded that
Well,
contract.
the only thing
yeah.
that's, it did, but as I said, the only thing that changed with this is Wakinko. Delete that out and everything else remains the same. Whatever was gonna be done or was intended to be done after the contract had been rescinded, that included grinder pumps, is still gonna take place, should take place, but which would be relining, the assumption of relining. Now, Jimmy's doing a rewrite there, we'll see what it comes up with.
Let's see. Here was a $2 million engineering cost for the Swiss Beach Smith Street line. So the engineering for the denitrogen odor control was $1 million, and the project was for $9 million. Guy, do we normally do engineering plans from a article, or do we do it under our budget?
Swiss Beach was done on an article. We did an article when we first were going to do low-pressure systems in all of Swiss Beach. Back in the day, it was 20 million. We funded an article at town meeting. I believe it was, I want to say, a few $1,000,000 to research Swiss Beach, and so we've been spending that money. I think the balance is around $400 or $500. So the last project, that's where that money came from. That money, you rescind that contract, so I'm assuming that's going to go back into the budget, and so you can utilize that funds for engineering if that's what you want to do moving forward, because it's in the article. I think the article's, it's real old.
I'm only back to 2017, so I'm still not
That's
finding
before that.
one.
Patrick Tropiano was the one behind it, so it was way before. I think you weren't around, so you may not have notes
I
on
only go
that.
back to 2016
Yeah, it
for
was
warrant
well
articles.
before that. We've been studying Wakinko.
So I'm sorry, folks,
15
I don't
years.
have some words to tell us how to fund this article.
Jimmy, when you were rewriting, it's my crossing off of the streets. That wasn't your intent, though, correct?
Not to cross off those streets, just to cross off one Kinko, as you suggested.
Yeah.
Because that's out of the thing, so take one Kinko out altogether, use the streets that were previously crossed out, add in the engineering.
So to repair, replace,
Or line,
Replace, do you want to say?
or line, or lining of sewer lines on, and it goes on to there.
Do you want to use the word replace, or just
well,
say
if replace
lining?
it, I think that replaces it there if you're gonna do solid piping like we're talking about.
That means digging up the road and replacing the
Well,
pipe.
Depends on where.
The actual motion, as it's here, is to move the town vote $3 million for the purposes of financing the repair of failed gravity sewer lines, including engineering but not limited to repair and replacement of sewer lines on, and it goes on to mention the streets, and that's the only correction.
With the exception of one people.
That's deleted.
May I s-
Wait, let me get it right anyway.
Request for the engineering cost to do that.
It includes the action as well as the engineering that creates the action.
So that's including the emergency repair on Waukee.
No,
No, that's deleted completely.
Anyway,
No longer part of it. As far as that's what's been rewritten, that is no longer part of that article.
so this article will still go for $3 million, but it will say not limited to engineering cost repair, replacement of sewer lines. How do we know
How
what-
can we ask for $3 million when the engineering hasn't been done? We're asking for the engineering at the same time.
We're trying to make this, we're trying to make it
Fast
quick.
track it.
Fast track it, that's the word I'm
But
looking for.
that's the problem. We keep doing this fast track and it bites us in the ass.
Do I have a motion to recommend Article 3 as changed?
I make a motion, we accept the changes.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I would like the changes qualified.
The motion's on the floor.
The motion's on the floor. I heard the word changes. I want the changes identified.
They're in the article. They're right there in the article.
Has this been rewritten? What do you?
Well, that doesn't help for our minutes.
Well,
Yeah,
it's going to have to, with Sandy,
yeah.
this is not my creation here, what's going on. What you wanted to do, which collectively is what is happening. As far as the minutes are concerned, I've read it, and that's part of the minutes, which would be changing.
Okay, remove Wong-Kinko and include engineering cost.
And lining.
And lining,
In engineering cost
and lining of,
for repair, lining,
the motion would,
replacement.
the motion would read, I move that the town vote $3 million for the purpose of financing the repair of the failed gravity sewer lines, including engineering but not limited to repair and replacement of sewer lines. Continuing on to the Murphy Street, Columbia Street, Barn Street, Pleasant Street, and Bayview Ave, including without limitation all costs thereof, et cetera, as it was original.
So not limited to repair, replacement, or lining. Is that what I
Not
heard?
limited to repair and replacement of sewer lines.
So we're not going to
No,
include
include
lining?
the lining.
We want
Well,
lining.
you want to include the lining so you
included.
get their options.
Well, that's two sections then.
No, you got the one, you
The
got,
article up here, which is you had that,
what,
and then there's the
I added
motion.
that with, did
Why-
you rip off this tag?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, okay, I'll read the article then.
As
To see
we're
that the town
amending.
will vote to appropriate $3 million for the repair of failed gravity sewer lines, included but not limited to repair, replacement, lining of
Right.
sewer lines on Murphy Street, Columbia Street, Barnes Street, Pleasant Street, and Bayview Ave, as well as the payment of all other costs incidental and related thereto, to determine whether this amount shall be transferred from available funds, borrowing or otherwise, or to do or act in any manner relative thereto.
And I believe you left out engineering.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you should include manholes and laterals or just the system, because you're limited to just lines. And if you're going to replace lines that are in groundwater, the laterals are still in groundwater, and the manholes are still in groundwater. So you can do partial lining and not solve a problem of infiltration and inflow. So I would suggest you say structure, the system, opposed to one part of the system. But that's your article. You do what you feel is best.
And Jimmy, when you mentioned engineering inclusive, there's two articles, the article here that I just read, which would be printed, and the motion would be including the engineering. I think
No.
your intent was to read it in,
Whatever we do in the
including in the
article-
article.
Yes.
Whatever we do in the article will reflect in the motion.
Yes, that's why.
Yes, whatever we do in
as
the
I mentioned
article.
Well, Jimmy has it in the motion itself, but it's not in the article.
It has to be in the-
article.
It has to
And
be in the
that's why
article.
the
Yeah.
Add it in.
engineering, but not limited to repair, replacement, lining, or, let's see, including engineering, but not limited to repair and replacement.
Yep. And of sewer lines and structured system, and system structure, or however you want it. Sewer lines and related structural systems. Will that take care of manhole?
I would suggest you somehow include it. So if you say
If I say
the system,
structural systems,
just the whole system, the sewer system,
So-
I would, because it gives you the opportunity to replace them. I mean, if you're gonna do one, you have the
sewer
others.
lines and related,
Reline, you have to reline the sewers.
so it will say sewer lines and
But you're not saying
related,
the laterals,
oh, sorry.
and you're not
No,
saying,
I didn't say anything about the laterals.
Yeah,
I
so-
said the sewers.
so sewer system, I think you're right.
So
Then you
I
all
just say
encompass.
sewer lines and related structural systems.
Yeah, I think you're better off.
This is what it means.
What I'm saying is that,
Now, aren't you kind of leaning towards that could include laterals?
well, what I'm saying too, then that's all I'm saying. If you're not gonna do the laterals, when
No.
you replace, when you line the pipe,
Add it to this.
the infiltration is going to go to the laterals,
Jimmy.
right?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is you can do the laterals, just say the system. It doesn't limit you, but it gives you more options. That's all I'm saying. Because you may want to do it all, you may not, but if you don't put it in there, you can't do it all.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. You want to do the max that you can, put it in there. That's all. And then you can do what you want to do financially, whatever you choose to do. Because that's the system. Your laterals are, your pipes are just one part. Your manholes, your laterals, they all leak. So you can't limit it.
Okay, so I believe I have it. So I had the motion,
But if you'd say systems and then only do part of the system and don't do the laterals, and the laterals are part of the problem,
Laterals are part of the, it belongs.
Well, they are. So you can
I
do
mean, the
systems.
laterals could be part of the I just as well as the mains
You're
can,
correct.
okay?
The laterals are more.
so are
the
sump pumps. How do you
responsibility of the
stop
owner.
them?
So we're saying that we want to,
And we can't go on their property to
The
repair it.
laterals cross private property.
We only go to, we only go to the lateral, no further.
That was what was wrong with the original contract. I mean, we get blamed for signing that contract. I had a million questions yet to ask the engineer on that original 001 contract. And what they were going to do to the laterals when they were going to use the grinder pumps was one of them. Were they going to at least
Okay.
camera them to identify a problem? See, this is still such a can of worms.
you can only do laterals to the property line. On the property, you can't touch.
Right.
And what you're saying, the laterals are in the street, and then they come up to an elevation that's above the
Yeah,
water
but-
table. I wouldn't worry about
I
that. You gotta
understand
get
that-
what's in the water.
We can't go on the private property. But if we camera the lateral and find out that's where the problem is, I also understand it's the homeowner's obligation to fix it. But whether they fix it or they don't fix it, it's our problem because it's the I. You shake your head, Bernie. We have to process the water.
Private property, we are permitted to do.
If-
I don't care
If the
how,
problem is on private property, it's our problem.
no, it's private property. You cannot violate
If
property.
the I is on private property and flowing into our system, it is a
Right.
problem for us.
That's
100%
what.
correct.
And how do we
Is that
stop
correct,
the
guys?
It's
water?
100% correct. In some communities, take
apologize,
ownership right to the
I
foundation.
apologize, I was wrong.
By easements. There's all kinds of ways to address it. You just have to figure out how to address it. But in the likelihood of that lateral being greater than 4 feet, isn't as great as the lateral in the street. Because you got a water table of 4 feet. That's your demarcation line. Above that, in theory, water's not going to get into it. You may get some surcharge from rain, but you're not getting groundwater. But the pipe that's in groundwater constantly, because, that's going to take in water.
Well, that was the whole reason I thought we were doing the pump system.
Absolutely, to eliminate the,
Because that was the new and the accepted way today to treat sewage in low-lying areas.
it was, and it's a multifunction. You get the,
It was
yes, you're right.
presented horribly to the people.
And I'm not disagreeing. It's a total solution because now you're dealing with wipes, infiltration, inflow. You're dealing with many problems that we
Had all
have.
new pipes.
Yes, because you got to deal with it eventually.
But
We have
it
to.
still didn't address the laterals. That
Well-
was one of the questions I had yet to ask.
It did. The lateral to the pump was going to be taken care of. And what you were concerned about, the laterals on the property line, if that, when
Where
we
do-
put the
what-
pump,
what
we would
did-
see
what
Excuse
did
me,
you
that.
say
excuse
lateral?
me, excuse me, Peter. We're going far afield here. go back to the article that was written, and that's what's on the floor as far as a motion and has been seconded.
And
I'm afraid I totally disagree with you, Mr. Chairman. We are not solving the problem. What we're doing is spending money.
I understand, but that's what's on the floor, if you don't mind. If you don't want to vote,
What's
if you
on the
want
floor is to spend money. It is not
Yes.
solving the problem.
solving the
it's
problem
involving,
would get
it's
rid of
including the engineering. So
sump
that's,
pumps.
that's going to answer your questions. Because it includes the engineering.
It includes engineering. How can you say yes to a contract that you haven't engineered and know how much it's going to cost you? You're asking for the money to do the project that hasn't been
Then,
engineered.
Peter, what is your
Correct.
recommendation?
I'm not suggesting this is right.
Well, then don't.
And Peter,
propose
what do
it.
we do?
I didn't propose it.
Sorry.
It's been motioned and
Peter,
seconded.
what do we do? What do we
I
do?
really think we have to get the whole thing engineered over.
Therefore, we need we need costs for engineering.
All right, then just get for the cost of engineering. That's not $3 million.
You see his point? Change it from 3 million to 350.
30,000 or
300,000. That's,
Get the thing engineered and get it engineered properly.
Okay, then I'll ask who, did you recall who made the motion by chance?
I made the motion.
The maker of the motion, you wish to withdraw your motion?
No?
Then the motion's on the floor. That's, limit the discussion to that,
That's the 3 million.
as I have read it.
Yes.
It's been made and seconded. If you don't want to,
Motion
Peter,
at this point?
The 3
Yes.
million.
the 3 million for engineering, but not limited to repair, replacement, lining of sewer lines.
No.
I'll ask for a vote. Roll call.
Who seconded?
I think Bob said seconded.
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
2, and an abstain.
So it fails.
Motion fails.
Then I make a motion, we do an article for $300,000 to provide engineering for the project at Swiss Beach.
Define swift speech.
Well,
Murphy Street, Columbia Street, Barnes Street, Pleasant Street, and Bayview, and homes along Wonkinko.
if I may
Do
say,
you, Neil, do you feel the need to include Wonkinko
There are homes on Wonkinko
that aren't covered by the?
that are not done by Danny's project.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
what is the
For being done, the motion
The
fails.
motion's $300,000 for an engineering plan.
to solve,
An engineering plan to repair the failed gravity lines, not limited to repair, replacement, or lining, an engineering plan to accommodate that.
What you wanted.
no, I want to solve the I&I problem.
Then you stop the sump pumps.
That's part of it, I agree, but
We've been-
it doesn't stop the rainwater from coming in.
But if we do an engineering plan to look at the cause of I&I, that's one of the engineering plans. When someone comes to us and say, what do you want from an engineering plan? We say to them, we want to solve the I&I.
Solve the problem.
I don't need that in my motion. That's part of defining the scope of the engineering plan.
Okay.
You're asking either for discovery of the I&I or for replacing.
Eliminating.
No, you're going to replace or eliminate, not I&I, no, the system.
We want someone to.
What
Yep.
you would, what are you going to get from engineering? I'm going to tell you now, as an engineer, you have I&I.
And I'm going to
Collect
say,
the $3 million. I've already answered the question.
We know we have I&I.
I&I.
We spent $400,000 for that report. We know there's I&I in Swiss Beach, the highest in the town. So it's a gimme. We have that documentation.
Indeed.
I want an engineering plan to tell us how to repair the failed gravity system. Includes
It's repair. How do you fix it? That's
Repair,
what she's
how do
saying.
we fix it? And fixing it's fixing I and I.
Well, we already know there's I and I, so.
How do, the
we-
engineering plan is how do I fix my I and I on
Good.
these streets?
And that's what you want to do.
And that would be part of the scope of the engineering plan. I don't believe that belongs in the motion.
What, I'm sorry, I lost you there.
I want an engineering plan. I don't think I
course you
have
do.
to
That's- yeah.
specifically say what my engineering plan, step by step by step, includes.
Well, I'm just outlining what is your objective, or what do you expect from the engineering plan? You want the plan.
I want the plan to
I mean, we've already
repair,
identified I and I, so it's,
yeah, repair, replace, line, whatever it is, and that includes taking care of failed system, including I and I,
Mm-hmm.
which tells me is a failed system.
So your motion is an engineering plan to fix a failed system.
would you please write that out, Sandy? Turn the page. I'll call a 3-minute recess while Sandy is writing that, so if anybody has anything they have need to do.
Is the ice cream truck handy?
Wasn't on the agenda.
Now, Norma, are your meetings this exciting?
Last night it was not.
You didn't come to mine. It was we failed another dock.
Finance committee?
We denied another dock.
So I shouldn't bother applying.
So this mumbo jumbo makes sense to her.
I hope so. I hope so.
Jimmy, when I was sitting this morning in Narrows, there's only 2 of us.
Yeah, I heard that.
What is, Thursday, it's Thursday.
Uh,
$300,000 for engineering plan for Swift Beach, failed gravity. How does that sound to you?
Repair includes I and I.
Beg pardon?
Repair would include I and I.
So what do you think of that, Peter? Any comments?
Would you read it again, please? Oh, may I?
Pass it down.
Can you add and eliminate INR?
That's part of the repair.
Repair.
I can't eliminate I if I can't get rid of the damn sump pumps. An engineering plan is not going to be able to remove I. If I repair,
If we don't eliminate the INI, there's no sense in doing
but
it.
if I repair the lines, I'm repairing the lines that are leaking. I can't stop the homeowners from using their I.
By replacing the lines, you virtually replace your limit or reduce the INI.
How about identifying I?
It's been identified in previous plans.
We have a plan to identify.
Already done that.
Because there's Ruggles catchment area, there's Smith's catchment area, which encompasses Swiss Beach. We've identified the I&I. It's quite substantial. So if you do an engineering study to attack the I&I, you can probably address the infiltration, which is the leaking pipes. Inflow, which is gutters and sump pumps and all that, that's another whole issue. But he may or may not be able to address it, but at least he'll address all your leaky pipes, all your leaky laterals, and all your leaky sump pumps, which is a portion. The sad part is that 40% of it is sump pumps. So you're still never gonna get that thing, and that's a capacity issue here at the plant. But I don't know what you're gonna do with that 40%, but that's a high number. That's the number coming from Swiss Beach of the total I&I that's inflow. And that report's online.
Bob, you have any comments, concerns?
No.
But you gotta do something. And maybe a study, Peter, you can be involved in that. Residents can be involved in it.
Have we got documentation that says 40% of the INI is sump pumps?
Yes. It's in
We
the
have
document.
documentation
Yes.
Yes.
from an engineer.
Yes. It was mandated by the DEP, we had to do it, and we did it. It's $400,000.
So this is the best we can do until we can figure out some way to enforce.
Until we
The
do
law.
a smoke test or something like that to tell which homes are hooked up into sewer. We talked about years ago doing a smoke test in everybody's house.
But even if we know that it's that house, we can't do anything more about
It's
it.
against the law to be hooked to a sewer.
So what are you going to do? You can't go in, you can't
This
get a
is-
warrant.
Who's to say we can't? But this is for another time in discussion, and we've had this one. I've been here how many years, and it comes up every single year. How do we
still
tell?
haven't done anything
And we still
about it.
haven't done anything. I'd love to
I
have an
believe
answer.
We asked legal to help us with that, and we didn't get any place there.
I can't remember that discussion. But we're off topic. Please,
On the do we have a motion on the floor?
I made the motion. I read it.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Aye.
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 I'll abstain. 401.
Which means I will be working on this article to be submitted to all of you for final review, no comment back to me because of open meeting law, and respond to me if you see a problem. If not, I will submit it to the Selectman's office on Monday afternoon.
Moving on, we have the transfer of retained earnings fund, which is Article 4. The motion is to appropriate 1.1 million from FY23 Water Pollution Control Facility certified retained earnings to fund the non-state revolving fund loan portion of the WPCF plant upgrades that were approved under Article 18 of the December 14th, 2020 town meeting.
Well, we just put 300,000 in there.
The issue with this one is, as we've talked about this before, excuse me, there's approximately, let's see, 796,000, I believe is the actual amount. However, there was 900,000 from a loan, let's see, and the actual total is 10.1 million. I'm losing my track here. Let me read this.
It was 10.1 was the contract, 9
Yes.
million was SR funding, it was a 1.1 million deficit. The town decided to take it out of the 2021 budget of the enterprise and never transfer it over. So we have to
Indeed, this
transfer
is
it back.
again an accounting problem or error in that it wasn't transferred during that fiscal year. And it closed out. The money is there, always has been there, it's just been in the wrong account.
We can't do anything, it's FY '23, and we'll be doing this in FY '24. I don't think this is a valid article. My opinion.
I have not received any information.
Guy, if I remember right on that, the 9 million was we could do under SRF funding, and the 1.1 was engineering costs, so we had to pay for that independently.
The contract came in at
Right.
10.1.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it came in at.
but
And
1.1 was engineering, wasn't it?
no, engineering was about $780,000. We cut it back on engineering.
Yeah.
So if you look at the 1.1, it was engineering and the overflow of the construction costs.
I got you.
So we were 1.1, because the bid came in at 10.1, and all the state was gonna give us was 9.
Right,
So that's
Right,
why we
that's where the
transferred,
1.1, right.
just to make it whole
exactly.
with the contract, that was all.
I
We just
remember
did
that,
it up.
yeah.
No, you're correct, you're correct.
So of this $9 million, which was done Article 18, December 14th, 2020, it was 150,000 plant evaluation, 2.5 million for EQ3 and 4 construction and engineering, 1 million engineering and denitrification odor control, 2 million denite filter, and 4.5 million odor control. And we only approved the 9 million, keeping us short 1.1 million. But I don't know whether or not we can in FY '24 talk about an FY '23 certified retained earnings. Just my,
Well, I'd say throw it in. If they kick it back, they kick it back.
It was actually done in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
Second?
What's the motion?
To, let's
1.1
see,
million.
appropriate 1.1 million from FY '23 Water Pollution Control Facility certified retained earnings to fund the non-state revolving fund loan portion of the WPCF plant upgrades that were approved under Article 18 of the December 14th, 2020 town meeting. You're effectively transferring monies from one account that can't be moved to another account that can be moved. It's merely an accounting error. The money's gonna have to go out to pay the bills anyway, and we're making it so that we can
It's
do
like
that.
we had 3 accounts that we really could have.
Any other discussion?
Was it second?
Yeah.
Yes. Any other discussion?
I don't believe this is a valid article.
Why?
As this is FY '23 and we're doing it in FY '24, we don't have any FY '24 retained earnings. '23 retained earnings goes into a general bucket
So
if
we'll
it's not
put-
used.
We'll put this in. If it doesn't fly, it doesn't fly. If it does, we've got it
And-
there.
What are you saying? that we can't correct a mistake because
We doing it
we
in the,
didn't make it yet?
we did it in the wrong year. If this had happened if this happened when we first had an article, town meeting in June, it would have been fine. Our town meeting's in July, which is a different fiscal year. I am going to recuse myself on this one. I'm not going to vote for it. I'm not going to, I will abstain because I believe it's the wrong funding.
Okay. I'll vote for it.
But if we're correcting a problem,
What'd you say, Jen?
does it really make any difference when we correct it?
Exactly.
Accounting-wise, yes.
Let them, as I say, let them worry about it.
I'm sorry, I don't see your point.
Okay, there's motions on the floor, that's,
Yep.
Is it second?
Motion on the floor is made and seconded.
Yep.
This discussion. I believe, as far from my understanding of accounting, we're just going from one account to another. Out of one account, we cannot, as Sandy says, and it's my interpretation, it's in a fiscal year, you can't do something. However, if you transfer it to the other account, which is let's see, it was closed to certified retained earnings, which closed out to free cash and on the other side of the house. And it's my feeling that by transferring it, it can be done, be paid out of a different fiscal year because if it's out of a separate account. So I think it can be done. I
using the
understand
words that are in the motion.
the way it's written, yes. But that's, again, we all are thinking, some of us think it cannot be done, as you do, Sandy. Others
Well, we'll
think
just vote on it, and however it comes out, it comes out.
it comes out. On the motion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Abstained. So-
401.
I will modify all these to call, instead of an FY '23 special town meeting, call it 2024 special town meeting, and modify the article in motion for the Swiss Beach sewer repair lines.
Excuse me, say that again, Steve.
Look at the title, FY '23, 2023 special town meeting. We're in '24. You want me to still call it 2023 special town meeting? Yes, I guess we're still in '23. It's just a
Yeah, well-
title.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, I'll leave it as is and only modify Article 3.
I wouldn't.
I don't know well, let me put it this way, I don't know the source of this document, and it
It's
doesn't
mine.
necessarily mean.
Totally mine.
Okay.
We approved them. So
It's just, and just to update it based on what's going to happen.
so we're just modify third article on the Swiss Beach sewer line.
And the next one,
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
yes,
we have some folks here that come a long ways to talk about the grant for the greaseiller and turn it to biodiesel. Is there any way we can take it out of order to get them in and out? It's a very brief presentation to see if things support.
all the
sewer
way
conditions.
down to I.
I'm asking, I'm not, yeah, I'm
Let's
just
do
asking.
I. Let's do I. Let's get them.
It's something we've been talking about this for years, and they've been working towards a grant. It's finally come through, so we wanted to present it. It's a pretty exciting opportunity, and just to get them out of here, they got quite a drive. I just thought it would be.
Got a beaver.
Done this an hour ago.
Gonna get 6
Yeah,
beavers.
I should have jumped in, I apologize.
Drag this on all night?
I know, that's just an idea.
No,
Bring your sleeping
no,
bag?
I don't know what
right
he's
in?
doing. I'd like you to sell it. I'm gonna put a
So
for
how
sale
far
sign
down
on
are
this
we
son of a
going?
bitch.
I just,
IB,
How does it look like what does it look like on the front?
grant proposal. Done.
It says grant proposals.
I know that, but what does it look like? A
Oh, and here,
large-scale wood
I
chip
think it's just-
reactor?
New England.
No, not that one. It would be,
Which one is it?
that's a good question. It would be the
Innovate
one-
Mass awarded?
Yes, that's the one.
It's the last item in your packet.
Yes, that is
For
the
the
one.
colored pages,
Yes.
Or the colored page?
before
Just
the
before where
colored
that says
page.
Caution double-sided.
Oh,
Yellow one, the yellow page.
Wood chip reactor pilot.
No, there's nothing in there about double-sided.
Okay, next item on the agenda, we're going to
Yellow page?
keep some for the courtesy of our guests. 3IB.
Right there, that's yellow.
Yeah.
That's not yellow?
No, it wasn't there. This is, it says,
Step forward, introduce yourselves.
Jessica Sweeney. And I have some printouts, or I can put up a few images up here.
If you'd like to, if
Which do you prefer? I can pass them out or put it up.
You take,
why don't you pass them out, if you don't
I
mind?
got Jessica and your name, I didn't get it.
whatever you want to use for a cheese, you lay it out flat, roll it, make it a Tootsie Roll like. Then, according to the size of the peppers, you cut off the log.
So Bob, we're
you.
jumping to the bottom of your agenda on the page, just before the colored page.
And then eat them by the dozen.
I
Fantastic.
just have it on folder, but I keep
I think the only thing that we can use is the provolone. 'cause
My
it's so
packet
salty.
has a document that looks like this.
That's
full
FYI.
rate.
This document we're looking at now was the one in front of it. The one before this is the one we're now
Oh, then why
talking.
don't you show the one before that?
Because if I show you this, you have no idea what I'm looking at because it is hard to read. Which one of the two, you got two of them now, which one am I holding
Well,
up?
that's because I'm twice as good as you.
Moving right along,
Yes.
Ouch.
All right. So in the folder that John just passed out, we do have a small PowerPoint. So I'm just going to be kind of reading along with it. So
mic turned down, by the way.
turned on.
Is there a button that threads to
So it
green?
should be a light, a
Green.
green light there.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's green. You're good.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear
All
you now.
right.
Thank you.
So in the folder, it's, I think we have it's about 5 minutes of presentation. If you want me to hurry up or skip, that's too long, just let me know. Otherwise,
Go right
I'll
ahead.
go ahead and you guys can flip along with me. Okay. So first off, thank you very much for having us. Chairman, the board, director, appreciate it. So CF Tech is a research and development team aiming to deliver renewable liquid fuel with an initial target of producing marine biofuel or biodiesel as a drop-in fuel for ocean-going vessels and other uses as a diesel replacement for off-road equipment, generators, and heating services. This demonstration system has been under development for a few years, self-funded and by grants sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy, Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, and Mass Ventures, a small investment agency. So if you look down, our team is made up of experienced process engineers, manufacturers and fabricators, and leading technical advisors. John Moses here is the president and founder of CF Tech, working on extracting value from waste products and agricultural products for decades, as well as John Markowitz, who has worked on site commissioning and developing different oil and gas procedures on mobile systems for a few decades. And then throughout our development and scale-up, we initially built a relationship with Greasilla, who introduced us to Guy a few years ago. Over the span of these couple of years, we've tested grease from other local collection facilities, Veolia, Wind River, Darling, to name a few others. When we got a sample of the Wareham Greasilla, it was like striking gold. That grease was just so concentrated and so easy to work with that we came to the realization that being in Wareham was where we wanted to be, the grease we wanted to work with, and kind of the champion and guy that we needed to propel our innovation forward. So we do know that Wareham has this reputation for kind of forward-thinking, innovative, sustainable practices because you guys were all willing to put in that one of those first Greasilla machines, and you've seen, impact from that. So that's part of our huge motivation for coming down to Wareham. We're from Hyde Park, so it's not too far, about 45 miles, something like that. But very worthwhile for us. So if you turn to the back side, our goal, or what we're requesting, is to set up our mobile trailer alongside the Greasilla garage. We would have our employees at the Wareham site a few days per week. They'd be trained on the Greasilla equipment, which would provide benefits to the treatment plant in a few different ways. Some of those ways are have additional technical and engineering and process staff on site during working hours. Our operators and technicians would be trained on the Greasilla equipment, so that could be processing grease more regularly, bringing in additional tipping fees for the town, and producing more grease. So, that helps locally in terms of getting the restaurants under control, having a depot for those grease haulers to have somewhere local to bring all that. We would help with the site upkeep and maintenance of that trailer and garage. And we would fully operate our demonstration system. We're not requesting any labor interference from the workers down at the treatment plant. And we'd be working closely with Greasilla to make sure their equipment is maintained and operating well. Like, we would take that under responsibility. So quickly on the process, it's a combination of some IP-backed technology from a national lab, and then some pre-treatment and reaction steps. It's all closed-loop system, kind of self-contained on the back of a truck. And what it does is it pulls out the organic, rich carbon compounds from the grease and converts that into biofuel. So the system is self-contained. It's on the back of a 50-foot flatbed trailer, roofed, and it has a renovated control room. The requirements from you guys on site would be an electrical hookup, about 50 by 15 foot footprint, and some brown grease to do the conversion. The objectives of the pilot is to de-risk the technology by operating in a field environment instead of, in our lab, in our shop, and then, so it'll be our first time in a field environment at this scale. And then all of the data we collect and the product we have verified will kind of design our commercial, the commercial design, which is a more fully automated biofuel production system. And the milestones, which align with the Mass Clean Energy Center Innovate Mass grant, is to operate the system over a period of a few months, have 50 continuous hours at steady state, and have the biofuel produced, verified by a third party to ensure it's passes all inspections and not all inspections, all specifications, and we'll plan to power some diesel generators and space heaters on site just to ensure that the diesel we're producing works. And then I think the second to last page, just a little bit on the renewable fuels themselves. Sustainable renewable fuels is kind of our contribution to prevent additional climate change. The converted biofuel from brown grease waste is close to a 1-to-1 ratio for energy production on a BTU scale. And it has proven reductions in particulate, carbon monoxide, and greenhouse gas emissions. And industry trends prove that clean energy jobs are growing at an uncompromised rate. Many are high-paying and critical towards any shift away from fossil fuels. We expect our commercial biofuel systems to bring in 11 local jobs and about 1 million gallons of biofuel annually. Biodiesel is, on average comparable to the cost of petroleum fuel in making or converting a waste feedstock like brown grease is a lot cheaper than biofuel from vegetable, soy, or yellow grease. So in general, the waste-to-energy industry is on the rise, as waste conversion is seen as an extremely viable long-term option for sustainability. And the important partnerships we've been developing with Greasilla opens up a multitude of processing sites with up to 50 available sites expected within the next 18 months. So in summary, we're asking for a piece of space on the treatment plant's multi-acre site so that we can demonstrate this innovative technology. In the long term, we want to continue to add clean energy jobs, scale up, grow our partnerships with Wareham and Greasilla, and reduce dependency on fossil fuels while being socially responsible, increase our stewardship So we'd like to take any questions, and, thank you for this opportunity, and we really are confident that this demonstration will bring additional income to Wareham through tipping fees and the waste grease processing, and we just want to make you guys proud down at Tony's Lane. So, questions?
What is the direct benefit to Wareham?
To Wareham? One, if the greasezilla is up and running constantly, you're pulling in tipping fees, you have grease going back out. Eventually, we hope that we're at a scale where we're producing enough biofuel that you can run your generators off of it free of cost. You're not buying diesel, and your off-road equipment that runs on diesel could supply that for you. When we get to a point where we're ready to scale up from this mobile system to commercial plant, that could be on site here alongside the greasezilla, 1 million gallons of expensive biofuel, in some sort of profit splitting or rental agreement. I think there's opportunity.
We're thinking about running boilers. We have 2 generators on site that consume quite a bit of energy. We have 32 generators throughout town, and we have 4 boilers at the plant. And if we had another alternative source that didn't cost us, it would be beneficial.
Okay.
We've been working on this project for 3 years. It's not something we've been
Would this
presented.
be a fuel source that would be applicable to, say, like the school's boilers?
Yes, it has many applications.
So right now, Gridzilla is not working. It's
No.
not running.
No, it's not.
So how much do you need for an output from a system that's not running to do your test?
Greasezilla is going to get it running. That's their responsibility. We're not doing it. It's all,
Wait,
yes,
you cut it, you stopped
that's right.
in taking in anything.
I did. Because
Okay.
at the time we stopped it, we had no blowers. And so we're fixing that. Our blowers are pretty much done. I don't see this happening tomorrow. I'm suggesting that it'll probably be deep or end of summer.
How much
because
do
we're
we
finishing-
normally take in a day?
I'm sorry?
Who's selling this project, you or them?
They are. And
I
of
would
course, I'm,
suggest-
of
I
course,
would
as a
suggest
plant,
let them answer the question,
Okay.
Guy, please.
I thought she was a
I
question
was
specific
asking
to
If he was looking
Greasezilla.
at you, yes.
I'm
I think
asking
I'm more
you, how
appropriate
much-
them under the
Yeah,
circumstances.
I get it.
How
I
much-
just thought I was.
Yeah,
How much
yeah,
grease
meaning no
do you need
disrespect.
a day
I-
in order to make this site test work for you? Because I'm going to ask you how much you need a day, then I'm going to ask him how much he can provide a day.
Yeah. This is a small-scale demonstration, so we're only using maybe a drum of brown grease per shift or per week type of thing. We'll be varying how fast we operate, how fast we're running the system to see how much we can push out of it and still meet specification. But it'll be gallons,
So-
tens of gallons that we're.
There will be a direct line from Greasezilla output into your test.
So right now, there's a tank truck full of grease from when Greasezilla was operating. The plan is to take a sample from that and see if that's suitable. We'll start with that. And then once Greasezilla has the units up and running, we'll be just taking a slipstream. So part of what we'd like to do is just kind of over time, see how that varies and make sure that our process is producing spec fuel regardless of what season it is, what the source of the grease was coming into Greasezilla and things
So-
like that.
Guy, we currently have a stockpile of grease on site.
It's in a heated tank.
So the input to your, is the output from Greasezilla or
Yes.
raw grease?
No, the output from Greasezilla, we take as our
What are you
input.
talking to us for?
We want to be on your
It
site.
doesn't work, and it hasn't since we've had it.
We've got a tank full of grease. We made grease. We have it.
But aren't you dependent on a constant resource of raw material for that process to work?
Yes.
And that's kind of how we want to help the site and you guys by being kind of you guys bring in the trucks, you get the tipping fee, you unload it into the decanters, and then we'll run the Greasezilla, once a week, whatever that is, 500 gallons per shift that's working. We might take 50 gallons of it tops.
But
and-
once again, you have to have Greaseilla working.
Yes, so we're in close contact with Brian from Greaseilla. We've been talking about how we get Greaseilla up and running, maintained, get that truck tested out, make sure what's in there is suitable. When it is suitable and up and running and constantly producing, at first we'll probably just, pull 5-gallon samples from the trailer. After that, there'd be, just
But we have to have that up.
What was Greasella's output when it was running?
about 500 gallons per cooked shift. Yeah, per
Right.
batch.
That's what the manufacturer says.
Yes.
Guy, what's the capacity of the tanker? How full is it? That
It's
has
a
grease in it?
6,000-gallon tank, and we probably have 1,000 gallons in it.
Okay, so you have 1,000 gallons on hand. When is Greaseilla gonna be up and running, and what's the, I don't know, weekly capacity, average weekly capacity that it pulls in?
We did about 1,000, I'm going to say 500 gallons a week because that's what we produce. And our problem is always staffing. That's why they're going to staff it, because that eliminates that issue. But yeah, about 500 gallons a week we could produce. They're going to use 50 gallons of it. And the rest Greaseilla will handle, and they'll market it and do their thing.
That was totally confusing.
When is it gonna be running?
I'm talking to Greaseilla now. They're going to send a team in, and I'll give you more specific when they tell us what they need.
So this is gonna start on the 12th of November.
Well,
I hope not.
there's material on hand.
Damn thing hasn't run since we bought it.
It hasn't run since August. Our problem, Peter's always been staffing.
But we also have to have a constant supply,
Sure.
and that's incumbent on us to develop that. Irrespective of what you intend to do in sampling, et cetera, we have to have an operational process in terms of there is a resource to process and a market for the process. And that's all incumbent on us.
The market for the product is on us. And again, it will depend on what the ultimate relationship is, but on the assumption that, we're owner-operators of the system that stays in Wareham, then marketing of the material will be on us.
So why can't you test what we have in the storage tank?
That's,
And if
that's what we will.
that works, then come
That's
back
what
and
he's
talk to
saying
us
he's gonna
again.
do.
Well, we have tested your product before from the Greaseilla.
Pay attention.
Over the past
Yeah.
2 years, we've taken, 5-gallon buckets here and there and tested it. And that's what was, a great product for us compared to other grease collecting facilities.
All right. Now, Guy, you have 500 gallons on storage right now?
About 1,000, yes.
How many?
About 1,000 gallons
About 1,000
So
gallons
if it- yeah.
available for them to start the process.
today, yes.
And you do about 50 gallons in your testing?
Yeah, something like that.
Per week.
Maybe 50 gallons per week at the beginning.
So basically, all you're asking for us is permission to come do it?
Yep,
Oh, have that.
the space and a power hookup.
And a what? Oh,
Power hookup.
Electric hookup.
whoops,
Plug.
whoops.
We have to build an electrical hookup system for it,
No,
correct?
We have 480 available.
How
We
much
just
power
could
are
put
you
a
talking?
tail in.
It's a 100-amp circuit.
Yes.
Yeah, but, and how, so you have no idea how many KVs you're gonna use up? I mean,
We do.
just so we have a monetary number.
I don't know what your electricity is.
Aye.
About 15 kV
And right now,
is what, maybe for 20 hours a week.
and what is it going for right now?
20 cents a kilowatt hour,
20 cents?
something like that? Is that about? I mean, that's kind of typical for this area.
It's 26 cents where we're at.
About 20
We're paying about 11 cents, 11,
11.
12 cents.
Yeah.
Well,
We pay 26 in the winter,
So what are
18
we
in the
talking
that's
summer.
about what that runs around here, with the transmission cost and all. The actual cost of the electric is half the transmission cost.
Yeah. So if you come out, you've used the 1,000 gallons, about 1,000 gallons, we got storage. Hopefully by that time Priscilla is able to take some input.
Correct.
Well, it's not running now, is it?
No, it's not running.
capable of
Well,
running.
it runs,
Is
it's
it
just...
broken?
No, it's not broken, it's just we haven't used it. We shut it off in August, haven't used it. So they gotta recommission it. They gotta come back, fire it up, clear the lines, do all the things that they need to do to recommission it. It's not broken.
They're supposedly going to supply all the manpower to do that.
Yes, because we don't have any manpower.
Correct.
That's right. That's our biggest problem from day one, is we don't have manpower.
Sandy's gonna volunteer.
And we've been very, like, we know that. We're
So
very
once-
clear that you guys don't have the people
Once you're
to
up and
run it.
running, theoretically, we could take the output of your process and run a generator to power you to do it again.
Yes,
Yes,
like,
So you'd almost be self-contained.
Yes,
correct.
that's the plan.
yeah.
You're right.
I mean, and the objective is when we have a commercial scale system,
Then you wouldn't even need us, would you?
it's producing, well,
We'd want it here.
Oh, you want our grease?
Well, we'd want to
Out of your,
compensate you for your grease.
out of the,
Oh, you want to be compensated?
of course they do.
Always.
yeah.
We all do. It's a,
The,
it's a
the
win-win
unit-
situation.
You
Yeah.
realize what the rent fees are?
Jim has been trying to say something over there.
I'm sorry.
So I'll be here next Tuesday. I was just gonna say, the unit you're planning on installing at the present time, what is your capacity for production out of that?
It's small. It's just demonstration purposes.
Okay.
You know, a gallon an hour maybe.
No, I was just curious,
No.
I didn't know whether we were talking
Uh,
10
yeah.
gallons, 5 gallons, a gallon for 100 or whatever, you
Yeah.
know, just.
Yeah, we were actually hoping to build something significantly larger, but
But you
the
want to
funding,
improve
the funding that we had, you know, this is what we could
This
do.
seems to me, from your standpoint, it would work out a lot better. You can put something you've already got in place and utilize it to find out whether or not what you're saying is gonna work, does in fact work.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of people have seen it working in our laboratory, and they say, fine in a laboratory environment. You know, what's it gonna do when it's out in the field and has to deal with, you know, everything that comes up in the field?
Now-
And that's why we'd like to be in the field with this demo system.
Now, is there a specific type of grease that you don't want or do want, or?
The fresher it is, the better, I
Oh,
would say.
Okay, so you're talking
Yeah.
about,
the
you're only
fresher?
talking,
Yeah,
you're
Fresher.
only talking about now is as
Fresh.
far as the
Fresh.
freshness of it, as
Fresh.
opposed to
Brand
stale
new.
grease that's been hanging around for.
the
6 months.
more it's degraded, the more difficult, but, you know,
Who's on
that's
first?
part of what we want to learn when we're here on site.
If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna do a system and you're gonna well, so let's say this works,
Yeah,
and it works the way you want it to, and all the rest of that razzmatazz.
So if,
You'd wanna put in a system, a larger system, that
Yes.
would, produce a higher level of output,
correct.
obviously.
Yeah,
So you would be looking to probably utilize then all of the output that would come out of Greasilla, theoretically. In order to get the product into Greasilla initially, there's gotta be a way to get it. Now, would you be involved in any of that?
I don't,
I want to say that's a future discussion.
Okay,
You know,
that's fine.
we're happy to be involved in that if that can help. If you have all the connections already.
I'm just looking at it from a very limited
I mean,
thing. I'm looking at, we've got a lot of restaurants in town, we've got a lot of fry kettles in town, there's got a lot of grease that gets dumped in town. Is that something that eventually you might want to get involved
Eventually.
with? and pick
eventually
up
to
from
have
them
like a
on
vertical plan where
weekly,
we're doing all of
whatever,
that.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
Would be
mean,
awesome.
No, that's
in
fine.
meeting
I'm
with
just
Guy,
curious.
one of the things he told us, there's always grease out there that people are trying to unload.
We're usually stepping in it.
He said, and we're usually telling them, go away, because we, you know, we don't have the manpower to bring it in.
Right, because a lot of places don't handle it at all anyway, so. No, okay, I was just curious,
so if you take roughly 50 gallons of the output from Greasilla,
Yeah.
how many gallons would you expect to get in useful biofuel?
It's almost 1-to-1. We're at about, you know, 95 gallons out of 100 gallons, so we take in 100,
Now-
we're putting out about 95.
Okay, that's what I was
product.
concerned about is that 5 gallons, so, I mean, that 5% is, you put it there. What is that? And is that disposable?
Yeah. So some of it's water, some of it is solids that we filter out of the material. A small amount of it, might be a gas byproduct, carbon dioxide or something like that, if the reaction is going too far or something like that.
So,
But for the most part, it's just impurities.
yeah,
Oh,
and a
and
little
some
glycer-
glycol,
yeah.
a little bit of
okay, it's just
glycerin.
that, I don't want to have a byproduct that's more expensive for us to
Yeah.
get rid
Oh,
of
no.
than what we originally started with.
Well, you put the
Yeah,
byproduct.
yeah, it's just,
And if it's way
Grab
down to
bags.
5%, that's terrific.
glycerin is also a byproduct.
You put all that stuff into a gift bag and send it home.
Do you,
I would like to-
Any idea what it's going to cost to set them up electrically?
I don't. I mean, as far as to set them up, it'd probably be a few $100s and that's it. The electricity they use is minimal, and once they get up and running, I'm going to use my generators. So, but
So
it's
are you saying that you can, at this point, run them on an extension cord, I mean.
pretty
I
much. But
understand it's a heavy
it's going to be big, yeah, it's going to be a big,
Yeah, all right.
but yes,
you can go ahead and do that and get them started right away.
we can.
Or could you just put them down by the emergency generator and turn it on, test it every so often?
Yeah, I got a small one, and my goal, we have a small generator, I got a couple small 35 kWs. My goal is to run that,
That's what we'd love to
So
see them, and
that's the
then
goal.
use their fuel to power it, and they're self-contained.
and then
Yeah,
it
that's
proves
actually
out
good
what
for
we're
us if we
doing,
And
could
you
do
don't
that.
need us.
and then we have a bunch of generators. No, that's the goal. We'll see where it goes, but that's the goal.
Do you have space for them
Yes,
close to Grisilla?
right next to the trailer. I'm looking.
where the
I'm
tank
also-
is?
You know where the tanker is? There's a white canopy.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to stick them in the corner of that
Where,
to keep them out of, you know where I call it the White House. You know where the White House is? It's a big,
like a
it's a
Quonset
white,
where Biden lives?
yes, it's, yes.
Oh, we can't afford to go down there.
But it's gonna be right next to the tanker. So it's, the proximity is easy enough to get grease to it.
Anything else?
Oh, you,
I think,
down by the tent near Grisilla?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
I think what we'll do is put on the next week's agenda, next meeting's agenda, for further discussion on ourselves and make a decision. Is that all right with you people?
Say again?
We put on the next meeting's agenda for a decision,
You mean for the vote?
for a vote, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this wasn't listed with, okay, yeah.
Agreeable?
But I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Good.
Aye.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate you waiting this long.
and good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we hope that Wareham will be at the site of our first commercial system,
So
so.
we'll have a lot
So
of
that's fine.
visitors
Be
to
the
come
first
look.
thing that went right in Wareham lately.
Call Ken.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And you have our contact info. I think my email and cell phone numbers in all of those envelopes. So if anything
Got it.
comes up between now and 2 weeks that you want to talk about,
Wonderful, thank you
Reach
very
out.
much.
thank you.
We should also acknowledge how helpful Guy has been for us, since we first met him. Just accommodating us and providing samples when we asked. Thank you, Guy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to
Have a
meet
good
everyone.
night.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Be safe.
Next item on the agenda is 3E, a vote on the SRF extension, referencing the article.
We didn't do D.
I'm not going to call D. It's not necessary any longer. So this is the extension that would allow us to be continually eligible for the grant for this particular project for the headwaters and clarifiers. Because we missed the, I think was the last month or the month before, when the original schedule for the special town meeting was canceled. That was supposed to be on there, we were within the time frame. But this time, Mr. Sullivan has asked for an extension, and we've been granted one. That's for the clean water, application for the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. And he has asked, the administrator has asked for a vote. So I'll ask for a motion to approve, to accept.
I'm trying to find the paperwork.
I'll make a motion.
Well, where is it?
So what are we saying? We agreed that we should ask for the extension?
Yeah, because we were supposed to,
Say that in the motion, please.
We just to agree for the extension is what we're doing essentially. We don't have to approve anything, but Derek has asked for us,
All right, second.
to consult with the sewer commissioners
What's the motion?
to agree or accept the waiver, however you want to phrase it. We're a motion to approve.
Does anybody find it in their packet?
no,
No, I don't believe it is.
it's not in there,
Not
so you keep looking.
Yeah, I don't,
Jesus Christ,
unusual. If I got it separate from the packet, I usually try to make sure it gets out to everybody else, but I
is
guess
that from
not.
GHD who did it for Derek? Or Derek,
No,
that's
it came
Derek's request?
Came from
I
Derek.
saw that. I think I saw that.
I apologize. Apparently it came out directly to me from Derek. And I neglected to send it out to everyone.
Didn't come to you.
No, it's
Yeah,
his.
thank you.
He sent me a copy of it then.
I'm comfortable with it.
Beg your pardon?
I'm fine with it now that I had a chance to read it.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's, we're agreeing to ask for the extension.
Yes,
And we have to make a new vote for that?
I would like one, that's all.
Okay. No, okay.
I'm trying to wean him off doing things on his own, but do things in conjunction with or consulting with
Who's asking for the extension?
Derek. He has the authority to do so. He's the only one.
Derek.
Derek
Derek
Sullivan.
Oh, that's what I said. Derek's doing it?
Yes.
Okay. You okay, Sandy?
Yes.
May I have a vote to approve?
Aye.
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 Aye, 500. The next one is 3F,
Oh, yeah.
and it says it requires Derek's signature. Guy has the last two meetings, just said it's been on his desk, but he tells him to sign it, hasn't signed it, so we have it here to approve, and he's asked that we approve of this. This is which allows us to continue dumping into the river.
We got this electronically. Correct?
Motion to accept or approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? Do you understand what this is?
Where did
Very good. All those in favor say aye.
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 500. And we had the opportunity to observe a demonstration, and we were asked to go on site, and for the purposes or the location of it, it was a undisclosed location and top secret in nature. From the time frame, it tried to find the damn thing.
No, I could never find my way back there after that trip.
Yeah.
We-
Now,
But the Pathfinder.
would Jim or Bob want to explain what we had observed and their opinion?
I wasn't there.
You weren't.
No, it's
Where were you?
fine.
Oh, okay, I'll explain it. Danny Warren demonstrated the technology that he plans to use on Wankinko. And by burying a clay pipe. I believe it was all outlined, basically in the last commissioners' meeting down at Swift's Beach. The test was successful. He relined the clay pipe, captured all of the clay that had been scribed and expanded with his epoxy, and without a hitch. It worked really nice. I don't know how many feet there were, 20, 30 feet maybe?
30 feet.
30 feet. And, I don't know, the whole process took about, I don't know, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So he's using split type technology
Describing it.
to bring it through, and then he's somehow getting the epoxy.
Well, I'll tell you how he's doing it. These seals, well, obviously they form a seal, and as he drags the head through, it scribes the pipe, expands it. There's,
So we're going this way.
we're going this way,
Okay.
pulling it through the pipe. It expands it, shoots in his epoxy, which is activated by water, and the water jets are on the back side of that head. And as the epoxy is being activated, that tiny black piece that you see there is the liner that's being pulled through at the same time. And we don't have a picture of the end result, but the clay pipe basically is lifted, the foam, the epoxy is lining the inside, and it's going out into the soil and eventually
So it's
encapsulating the outside of the pipe.
encapsulating the old pipe with the asbestos in it.
Yes, and it's pulling the liner through at the same time and cementing that in place,
And then-
so,
And then how do you cut in the laterals?
I don't know, but
It's a
he
mystery,
does.
but it happens.
Excuse me?
It's something they've been doing for years,
Well, I know they've been doing it when they line the pipe.
and that
that's what we're
effectively is
doing.
lining
Yeah,
the
but
pipe.
But you're bringing a new pipe in there,
No, we're bringing lining in.
but not the epoxy lining.
Yes, the epoxy goes in first,
No, no, no.
The
The
epoxy and
pipe
caps,
that you're dragging in
yes.
is an epoxy pipe,
It's HDPE
or a rubber
pipe.
pipe or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
All right. What Denny's always known to do is to drag a sock loaded with the resin in it, and then it hardens, and that was the liner.
Yeah.
And he has the technology to cut the laterals on that. How are you cutting the laterals in this? This is different.
You're
I
not,
imagine
That was-
probably much the same way.
you're not. You're gonna put another pipe above it. and
Say again?
You're gonna put a pipe above it, and that's gonna connect to the houses. You cannot, once he pulls that pipe through, you have no laterals.
That's,
So you're right.
okay.
You can't connect.
so this is going to take care of the broken pipe,
Yeah, it's gonna let that flow.
all right. But to pick up all of the houses on Wantico, another pipe is being installed?
That is correct.
And how are you connecting the laterals to that?
Well, you're gonna put a pipe, you're gonna dig down, I don't know how many feet, I've heard 12, they're gonna dig down, put a new pipe,
So we're
and
back
then
to
bring laterals to
digging
that.
down.
Yes. That's correct.
Back to digging down
You are gonna dig, yes, that's correct.
16 feet. So,
No, I think it's gonna be less than the 16. I think, I heard
Yeah.
10 to 12 is what I heard, but I don't know.
And he's located all the laterals
so
on
then you're
Wankinko.
digging down to the depth of the laterals.
You dig, yes, you're gonna intercept the laterals down about 12 feet,
It's gonna be a gravity system.
correct.
Okay, so in essence, Wantico will be a conduit for the other streets.
No, it'll be
This
the,
is- Let me finish.
Yes.
well, I want,
Let him
for
finish.
Waukegan, the other part of
This
Waukegan.
will be a conduit on Wantico for the other streets. And then another pipe will be placed on top of it that will handle Wantico.
Wankinko.
That's correct.
Okay.
So, Peter, the other part, other half of Waukegan is still gonna be existing. That's not being changed. So that flow is gonna continue down the first section,
See,
yes.
I had
saw
a
it.
cheaper
Thank
way
you.
to do it, but that's okay. I was gonna try and tie a fishing line to a ping pong ball, and since the pipe sometimes let stuff go through, I was gonna pull that through and then pull the liner through, but that's okay. You're gonna lose my
Try
ping
it.
pong ball, I know.
I would try it.
Moving right along. I found it very interesting in
Again,
that,
that only fixes one peak.
I think that was the
But we're
third,
still digging down, huh?
I think
How
it's
are we gonna
unavoidable.
de-water?
That's why we're waiting for them to come to conservation to tell conservation how they're gonna go down 20 feet to
They're
take care.
not gonna go down 20 feet, they're only gonna go down to the depth of the laterals coming out of the house. From what I understand, when the original system was put in, the laterals come out and drop at the last minute.
Just to
He
go straight
needs,
up. Take a look, yes, sure.
They
Take a-
dropped like into a chimney.
Here's the pipe, chimney's like this, lateral goes to the house.
Yes.
okay,
Right.
he
correct.
needs to go down 20 feet from the beginning to the end, because he needs to get his system in there to line the pipe that he's about to,
Oh, you mean at both
at
ends?
either ends, he has to go 20 feet.
Why not just go through the two
I-
existing manholes you've got?
I don't know. This is
wouldn't be
what,
big
sorry,
enough.
this is what he presented to us at our meeting.
Couldn't get it
a
in,
month-
Peter, in the manhole.
So,
Couldn't get the tool in.
so you're gonna have to have a trench on each end,
A pit, probably 10 by 10, 20 by 20.
but still,
A pit.
you're going to the depth that Sandy's mentioning, and
I
it
think
has
a
to
little-
be dewatered.
Yes, I think a little deeper. And approximately 3 million gallons a day of water you're gonna move, approximately.
Now,
Yes,
is it inconceivable that we dewater into our system?
No, we can't, it's illegal. It's groundwater, I can't dewater into the system.
Is that cost prohibitive?
It's illegal,
Excuse me?
it's illegal. The DEP, EPA will.
It's illegal for
it's
us to do
illegal.
it intentionally,
That's right.
but because it's happening by accident, that's okay.
It's still illegal because our obligation is to get rid of it. Peter, our permit demands us to get rid of I&I. So it's never legal, it's just that, you know, it takes funds and a lot of times to get rid of the I&I. But to put I&I into the system, we can't do it.
Once you get down to the depth of the break in the pipe, what you're dewatering is no longer clean water.
Well, I'm not gonna go there, but anyways, it's gonna be dewatered.
But isn't it?
I agree with you. My contention always has been is all of Swiss Beach is polluted because you got leaky pipes. All of Swiss Beach. That leaky pipes, you've got exfiltration, you got infiltration. The entire bay is hammered, but that's another story, another debate, another day. But you're absolutely right.
But for this project, it's a problem.
Well, they'll probably just dewater and it'll be a done deal.
and that is why we're waiting for them.
Peter, so you could ask some questions of anyone in particular? I mean, we're going around and round and round, but we're not, I don't think we're solving anything or even giving you any satisfactory answers ourselves.
Somewhere down the line, they have to come before Conservation Commission, in which those answers will be asked and
No,
answered.
They need to be asked for Peter or for here. I don't care what conservation is going to do, I don't care what they ask. Here is what I'm concerned about.
I-
So is there someone you feel could answer your questions for you?
Well, don't you feel that we should have these answers before we fund this?
Well, I'm not getting involved in this to the extent that going through all my questions. I know a lot of this stuff and how it's solved. I'm not the authority on it, though.
Could we have
You
the,
people have been dealing with this a lot months before I got here, and I think if you haven't got your questions answered yet, then let's get them done now.
We never got them answered. That's why
Then who could answer them
approved the
for?
original 001 contract.
Then who could answer them for you, and I'll get them in here?
right now, I want to see Danny's engineer to answer these questions.
You would like Danny to come in?
Danny's engineer. He has to have an engineering plan.
Well, what's going to happen? There was, 400 pages in the response to his RFP? I'll get a copy of that for you.
400 pages. I don't think we're looking for 400 pages.
It was highly detailed.
So he answers how deep his pit's out, he answers how he's going to dewater, and all that is answered in that RFP?
I won't tell you it is or isn't, but I'll get it for you, and I'll ask him if you'd like. I'll have him come back.
I'm not going to want a 400-page document in my email.
Bernie, when we originally looked at the 001 contract, It was to avoid this problem. Now, while I understand the people at Swift Beach not wanting the grinder pumps, it avoided this problem.
Because a brand-new system
We
would be...
are back with this same problem. And now we're only fixing part of what the original project was. Hell, there's an awful lot of
What do you mean we're only
questions.
fixing part of it?
We're only fixing one Hico, we're
How
not
many-
doing the other streets.
So we have an article that will take care of the others. That's
No.
that's
We
what
have
you
an
did this
article to
evening.
look at a way to do it.
How many feet on Wankinko are being repaired?
I think it's one manhole to another. What's that amount to, 300 feet?
I think it is.
But 360 feet, you're correct.
360,
300 feet, yeah.
so going from
Okay,
Bayview to,
that's enough.
okay.
Yeah.
Discussion's all closed.
Thank you.
I'll have
Yeah,
Danny
from-
come in
From Bayview
Thank
to
you.
Swift
and
Beach.
and the RFP. We're going around here tonight. We're not doing anything.
Yeah, but we're gonna keep going round and round until we get
Indeed.
answers.
Well, that's what I've just said. I'm cutting off discussion until we get someone in who can answer the questions for you.
I would like to add to the discussion one more point. Can I ask Mr. Warren when we're going to get a engineering plan so they can come before conservation? Because they can't start work until conservation hears and approves it.
I'm not allowing any questions regarding conservation, how they want to handle it, how he
No,
wants to
can you
handle it.
ask when he will be submitting the plan?
I am not going to get involved at all in what he's doing with conservation. Inappropriate. If,
Does he know he needs a plan?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay. Then
I'm
I don't want to
concerned.
keep hearing from you, why haven't we asked about conservation?
I'm not interested in
Well,
conservation.
you were several emails ago to me.
Conservation may be interested in conservation and
Yes.
how it relates to him. This is the sewer commission.
All right, so we're delaying the project because it hasn't come before conservation. That's true,
Then conservation can take that vote and do so.
once we have it. So it's delayed until conservation takes a vote.
I have no idea.
I'm
not
telling
in.
you,
Okay, fine.
you can't do work around stormwater. You can't do work around flood zones without conservation approval.
All right.
Okay,
Even on an emergency basis?
what emergency? It's been out there for how many years? How many months?
It's been like that for the best part of 2 years.
That's not an emergency.
5 years?
2015.
I thought
Okay, we're
that's when
moving
we were
on.
somehow getting the funding because there was an emergency. I thought that's why EPA was gonna help us out in some form.
There's funds, we have the funds to do it. Moving on to the,
You say we keep going round and round. It's because we keep getting, I don't know, for an answer.
then when they've come before, I'll get anyone you need, Peter, to hear, get them before you, and you can ask that question and take issue with them if you feel the answer is inadequate.
Well,
But I can't answer it for you, and neither can your
But are you
fellow members.
comfortable with what's going on?
No, not necessarily. I'm not saying I'm
Okay, thank you.
comfortable.
That was my point. You keep making it sound like I'm the only one with questions. I don't think that's the case.
No, there's four of you, the other people here on the commission.
I want to see the engineering
Just
plans.
because you have asked the
Yep.
question doesn't mean they don't have the same question.
I want to see the engineering
verbalize it.
plans. Not the RFP, the engineering plans.
Beg your pardon?
I want to see the engineering plans for the project.
Should be part of the RFP, I presume. We'll get, see what that is in that. He has to explain what he's required of him and how he wants to accomplish it. Discussing the five-year capital plan that was requested. Is there any concerns or any questions regarding our five-year plan as it stands now?
Why aren't we doing the ongoing projects that have been there for year after year after year? Why are they not being addressed?
There's several that are ongoing. Which one do you have?
Everything that says ongoing.
Right.
Generators, rehab pump stations, aeration tanks, replacing clarifiers, kettle station, pump station replacement, infrastructure, pipe replacement, repair manholes, those are all ongoing. They've never been funded. Why are we even considering them for ongoing if they're not going to get done?
Well, it's timely. The manholes, we gotta wait. The highway's gonna be done soon, so we're gonna buy 37 manhole covers for that, so once we get that.
So has that, if that's the case,
So as they come, then we'll move them forward.
have you come to capital planning for funding of that source?
I thought I'm sure I did. I thought I did. If I didn't, then we'll have to go to capital planning. I assume, I remember talking about all these things at capital planning.
Everything that says ongoing has not come to town meeting for a funding source. Everything that's starred has been approved at town meeting. Nothing else has been.
What's the status of the ones with stars? They've been approved and they've been funded.
The question has to be asked, are they completed? Capital planning does not know that.
Well, we know the force main from the Narrows hasn't been done.
Nope,
What's the status?
this hasn't been done.
Oh, he's still looking for the Chinese stuff.
Yeah, he's still having a problem getting information, but I think there's a report. Just a basic, his biggest problem right now is getting verification from anything on the Chinese product.
No, this says Heinz Field Force Main Testing, 150,000,
We haven't done that because we're gonna wait till we were supposed to be done
which is
with
different
Narrows.
than
That's right.
the clarifier update for 250,000.
We didn't do, we decided not to do it because we're replacing the clarifiers.
Rehab wet well at the Narrows for 150,000.
We did the gates, but that's as far as we got.
Hasn't been, okay. Grant, Narrows and Line Basins for 400K from Special Spring 2020.
Line basins, we did 2 basins. I don't know if the 4,000 was engineered, but we did 2 basins. We got 4 or 5. We completed and built 2 basins. Grants was for Narrows to do the rehab of Narrows. We never got the grant. We set money aside. We never got the grant, so we didn't do the work.
So we have to tell accounting that these has to be canceled.
I think last time I talked to you, I think we already done that. You might want to talk to Judy, Derek, and John. We sat down and we did this. I said
Okay.
that to you last 2
Okay,
meetings
the
ago.
odor control for fall 2020 for 4.5 million.
We did not do it because we ran out of money, the
Where'd you get
10.1
4.5
million.
million?
450,000,
150,000. I don't, yeah, just,
Okay.
that's 4.5 million,
yeah, come on.
right?
450,000?
450,000,
You're right,
450,000.
I wasn't paying attention to the.
4,500K, to me, that's 4.5 million for odor control. That isn't the basin we just completed?
It's not 450,000.
Yes, but no, 4,500K is, to me, is
45,000,
$45,000 or
right.
yeah, something like that, 450K. It's not 4.4 million,
Where the hell is that number?
4,500,000. I think. I'd have to look it up, because I think we originally planned to do the biofilter. in
The odor
original
control
plan.
was 4,500,000.
I think the original plan was included with biofilter, and we pulled it out because we only got 9 million from SRF funding.
Right.
And we haven't funded it. We don't have the funds to fund it. We just can't do it because and that's where the 1.1 is to make up the 10.1. So we
I
pulled
thought the
that.
star indicated that we had funding and we had approval.
Yes.
Not that I know. I have to
I
look.
see the star.
I really have to look. I don't remember 4.5 million for biofilter. I
It's
think we
under-
talked about $450,000 for the biofilter, which we pulled out of the bid, and we probably left it there to maybe do it some other time, because we eventually have to do it,
This is-
but not 4.5 million.
This says budget cost,
According-
odor control, $4,500,000.
4,500K is listed here.
Yeah, but I don't see,
I don't remember that.
You want to see the
yes,
article?
please. I don't think we
There's
could,
the detail behind the $9 million article, which is the 1.1 shortfall. Doesn't it say odor control, 4,500,000?
that is incorrect. An odor control for $4,500,000 is one heck of an odor control system.
We
That'd be the
covered that
plant.
basin.
No, okay, I see, okay, I don't, then, what you're saying, okay, you're right. But it's the EQ basin 5, it wasn't odor control. I'm thinking odor control
That's
is a
what was in
biofilter.
town meeting
Okay.
article.
Yes, so the odor control was the basin number 5.
Okay,
We-
yeah.
It's done.
Yes.
Okay.
So I now can cross that out?
Yes, it's done. Well, don't cross it out because we had to extend the SRF funding. because we have the
Okay.
1.1, so the project isn't closed.
So
I wouldn't
then-
cross it out.
Then we have $2 million for a D-night filter. That's not done either?
DNI filter's done. Well, again, it's running, but until we close the SRF funding after the 1.1, I would suggest to you, it's not closed, but it's
Okay.
done. So you can do it any way you
And
want.
Special Spring 21, we did 2 generators for $500K.
We just finished that. We got one in Saltworks. I sent the pictures, and we got
Yep.
one at Terry Lane. They're
Are
done.
they both done?
Yes, they are. They're both done and operational.
Then
I
we
think that
have
was the email.
$6 million for the force main replacement. That's still work in
It's still
progress.
working. Once we get the bid out, which,
The Ruggles install solid system for $3 million.
Why do some of them say K and some of them say million?
no, we're not doing, remember that was, we pulled that, we didn't do the solid system.
I guess you just.
Peter, do you have
It's
questions?
a terminology, Sandy, solid system. That was the project that was canceled.
Excuse me. You guys have questions? If you share what you're
My
going on.
question is, why do they write these things so that the 2 generators, it's 500K? So that's, what, $500,000?
Yes.
Well, the next one they write down is 6 million. Why don't they write 0.5 million? Why the confusion between Ks and Ms? Well, who prints it?
I create this document.
Huh?
I create this document.
Well, then you created my question.
All right, you want,
Answer it.
it was just what I typed in at the
Why,
time.
why aren't you consistent when you list the amount of money?
Don't know, maybe I should put in 6000K.
Well, then you'd be consistent. It
Yes.
just- It would
Yep.
be harder to read.
All right.
We'll
Okay,
try
thank
consist,
you.
we'll
For your
try
answer.
one size fits all, consistency.
Because some of those figures are best read in Ks than they are in Ms, but I understand what what your issue is on the 450,000 and 200,000 and the 22,000K.
Any further questions regarding this?
Well, the question is, then we have the funding for the engineering for headworks and clarifiers. Have that been done? Has that been done?
No.
Engineering for the,
No, we're still working, the project hasn't even started yet.
We
The
have-
engineering has started, but
yeah, the question is, we have $2 million set aside for headworks engineering,
when, I think that was the Springtown meeting?
fall '22.
Okay, yes, you're right. And that's for the SR funding that we applied for, that we're going to complete. The letter you endorsed to get the extension, that covers all that stuff. So we have started the engineering, but it's no good until we get that extension. So it's ongoing, or whatever word you'd like.
Are there
It's-
any other capital projects that should be included in your capital plan? I'm sure your answer is yes, but I don't understand what you need, what
I-
more you need.
I'll take this and I'll sit down with Derek and John and we'll go over it, make sure, because we cleared a bunch of stuff up. Let me find out what's unclear, what's clear, and then you can give me a list, what you did for capital planning, and we'll merge them and see what's really going on. I can't answer that question.
Guy, I think we need a more regular reporting structure.
On this,
Yeah, more,
At least
I mean,
once a
this is very
quarter.
nice, a list, and 5, 6, 8, 7 pages, but it doesn't, it should be,
Now,
I know what it should be. I'll work on it. I'll give it back to you. I'll get back to you.
because this is created by capital planning.
Yeah, this is not us.
So whatever they want, I'll do. I don't.
Yeah, well, it's
Capital
not them,
planning's
it's one
waiting
of-
for
it's
you
what
to
we
tell
want.
us what,
And I'll sit down, I'll get
Yeah.
together
How
with
you
you. We'll
want it.
go over
Absolutely.
something.
We'll get it done.
Okay, we'll take care of that.
Bernie,
Yes.
just because I don't understand it. Take the narrows force main replacement for 6 million. All right, it hasn't been done. And now we're in fiscal, what, 23? Does that mean that we're going to have to do what we did a little while ago? And get that money brought forward somehow?
No,
No.
no, it's been appropriated.
Okay.
What you're asking about, this is what I do. I have a folder for every one. Every line item that's in there, there's gonna be a folder on it. It's gonna hold all the details in it, and you'll have a copy of it. I don't do anything lump sum like that, all the individual lines.
No,
This
no,
is
all I
what
was
we
getting
do.
at is, a while ago, we had to rescind something so that we could move the money from one fiscal year to the next.
Yes.
Are we going to have to do this with this
No,
project?
I don't
hasn't
believe so. I
started?
believe the money's been appropriated.
Okay.
Borrowed.
Now,
Of course, by the
you
time
have
we
to
get
do
around
that
to doing it, it's
with-
gonna be more than 6 million.
Well, you only have to do that, the issue that you've addressed with different fiscal years, that's when we try to appropriate it. Let's say Guy in his operating budget has a line item unforeseen. Now, if we appropriate something and we use part of that money, we've got to spend it.
Yeah.
If that's been appropriated, I mean, that's his operational budget. That money's is different than when we appropriate to borrow or to fund it out of another retained earnings or whatever.
If the article says the funding is coming from his current capital budget, it must be paid for in that budget year.
Yes.
Other than that, it's borrowing and goes on forever. It depends on how the article is submitted to town meeting. If it's from his capital plan, it's got to be spent in that capital year. If he doesn't, then that's what happened to those articles that we've had to play with.
Yeah, but they had it, because they did transfer it out of the operational budget into a retained earning budget.
Didn't you just give me an opposite answer than he did?
I don't think so.
I just use different words.
Yeah, the same
Oh, you
thing.
always do. But
I can see Jimmy going,
We didn't spend the
oh.
money in fiscal '22.
And because we didn't spend the money and we said we would, then we have to transfer it over, which wasn't done.
But Bernie just said we don't have to do that because it was approved.
It depends on how we fund it when we approve the article.
Depends on the line item you take things from. If you appropriate out of Guy's budget for, let's say, unforeseen, you have to spend that money in that fiscal year.
In that budget year.
Forget to transfer it out of that line into something else, I think is retained earnings, that you can use at any time, let's say.
Peter,
Is that-
it's very understandable. If you remember the Three Stooges, who's on first?
Yeah, but I don't even play ball.
It all happens behind the curtain.
Whatever.
Okay, next with the, there's a grant proposal, I think you wanted an approval.
Yes, first of all, I think everybody's got a copy of the
Wood chip?
wood chip project, but I don't think
much
you
sense as
or
the other one made.
Bob has one. So I bought one, I bought one, I thought I gave it to you, but I may not have. This is the results of that. You've seen the base, what do you call it, the actor down by the UV lights? This is the results of that study. So we show that we can get nitrogen to zero. And this is them setting it up, and it's got everything. This is from the Dr. Foreman out of Woods Hole Institute, or whatever you want to call it. So that's the documentation. So I want to make you and Bob aware that you can have that. Everybody else, we got copies. That's been out for 2 years, but you guys wouldn't have had a copy of that.
I'll make sure everybody gets one.
And so what happened
Hand it
is,
in.
the
I don't think it's in the packet.
Buzzards Bay Estuary, which is run by Dr. Coster, is going to put out a grant to do a larger scale of what we've done. It's 100% funded, there's no match, no nothing. So we want to take and build one, a bigger scale in our area that we have a lined landfill, so we can collect it and not pollute everything if it didn't work. And we want to take wood chips, which we have plenty of, and just make a bigger scale to see if it still gets to zero nitrogen or what it gets to. If it does, then it becomes applicable to wastewater treatment. And if we can show that wastewater, we can treat the nitrogen with wood chips, which is we got tons of it and it's not as costly, then it's better than doing biofilters at 8 million and other things that we're doing. So this is the next phase in that pilot. And it's a grant,
What's the cost?
nothing to us. The grant's up to $750,000. I gave you a report, what he's proposing, but it's no cost to us whatsoever, no match, no nothing.
So are you basically saying you're taking your outfall and running through wood chips and
Pretty
reducing
much,
the nitrogen?
yes, absolutely. All we're doing.
What's the status of the wood chips after the process?
Well, we don't know. It lasts 10 to 15 years. The wood chips last for 10 to 15 years, so then you just replace them. Because, you throw out the wood chips.
But are they
But,
toxic?
I mean, are
And
they
you-
toxic? Do you have to ship them out, or?
No, you compost them, but
You have
yeah.
to send them to Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Canada.
Nobody's taking anything anymore, not even
Can you burn
Canada. I'm sorry?
After you've used them as a filter, can you burn them?
Peter, I don't know. It's a good question. Probably. Because they still have
I
carbon in
think
them.
what Bob's asking is, okay, so now we're gonna have a pile of wood chips that are clean, we're gonna start running this, using them as a filter. Now they don't work any longer as a filter, what do we do with them?
We
have another pile?
Yeah, we send them out to composting. We'll send them out to compost.
Well, can they be used in compost?
I'm told yes,
Are
but-
they toxic?
That's a good question to ask the chemist, but he's saying no.
And where would you do this on the plant?
Now,
It's a lined landfill.
that big pile of wood chips you have out there.
Yeah, that's what
That's
we
all in
use.
that,
You go down a couple of feet and they're composting automatically.
We've got some that are, it's 10 feet thick, and we turn them, and then we get the compost. If you look out back, you'll see all our compost. And we're actually using it for a lot of things, soil amender. We've got a pile of loam, we mix it in, and we use it for soil amending if we're gonna fix something, so we have
And
that.
is it a fire hazard, though? I mean,
No,
No?
the fire department's been out there, so,
okay.
yeah, we've had the fire department out there, because I've seen them smoke from heat, because they generate heat. Matter of fact, I'm told if you're homeless, you should climb in them at night and stay
Yeah,
warm.
no, I've seen a yard go up. They have had problems with their
Yeah.
huge compost mountains lighting up inside, and
Yeah, I've never seen-
fires
but
are
I-
tough to put out.
Makes sense.
Underneath.
Makes sense.
It's like a ground fire, like a peat moss fire.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
who else has
we have
done it?
tons
We
of
can
it.
ask all these questions?
Sorry?
Whom did you say we could ask all these questions of?
Oh, if you want specific, we can talk to Dr. Foreman as far as the reuse. He's the guy that is in Woods Hole that did the pilot program that we presently have, and he wants to expand it to see if we can make it apply to wastewater treatment.
Where's
This
the,
is what he's calling a wood chip reactor?
Yes.
where's the
It's serious.
pilot, where is the pilot program?
Pumping shit through a...
You said there was a pilot program. Where?
At our plant at the UV,
We've been using it?
2.5 years, almost 3 years.
Are you going to grind up all of that wood that's there to make wood chips, or
I was
just...
gonna use the wood chips that we have there, but
Oh, I know, you can get wood chips fairly easy.
I got wood chips.
They're looking to get rid of them.
Well, yeah, we started taking them from N-Star.
I'd be very interested in hearing, is oak better than pine?
Nope, there's no difference. He's done both, all of them. He's used pine, oak. He hasn't seen any significant difference in the ability, because they both all have carbon sources. So he hasn't seen any difference in this treat's better, that treat's better. The only thing that he's trying to find out is age of wood chips. So he's putting younger, older, and he did that in the reactor. It's in that report. As you read it, you'll see. And he said, okay, this may have a little better treatment ability if it's this age, and that, so he's trying to
Oh,
do
it's
that.
better to use new wood chips than old chips? Is that what you're saying?
The report states is a middle age. He's used wood chips that were 20 years old in the ground, and they have treatment ability. He's used wood chips that are brand new. They have treatment ability, and they're all getting nitrogen down to 0. So he hasn't made a total determination because it's only a 3-year study. He's going to take it to the reactor this will be in the ground for approximately 2 to 3 years, funded by the grant through Joe Costa, Dr. Costa, of the Estuaries Program. And they'll make some determinations. It's all experimental. We know we can get it to 0. We don't know how large of a scale, and we'd like to get an idea.
And this
this
benefits
off.
us how? It cuts down on the nitrogen that we're dumping in the river?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's
Would-
gonna,
Would that allow us to increase the amount we can dump in the river
that's the goal.
as well, lower nitrogen?
That's the goal. And I can't answer that question, but that's the goal. That's the long end. If we can get nitrogen to 0, then guess what that does, is that gives us almost an unlimited, other than the,
Sure, you could
flushing.
settle water to
Absolutely.
Springs.
Absolutely.
Think we can get the doctor here to give us a presentation?
I can. I can ask him to come in.
From Wareham Springs.
Absolutely. It's really a fascinating project.
Bottling Wareham Springs.
The doctor,
Wareham Springs
Water
water.
sold exclusively in the town of Wareham.
Cross this with wood chips. Pie.
Be kind of like.
well, we're looking at nutrients, so I can't talk about turbidity, any of that stuff. I may or may not drink it. We're talking strictly the nutrients that our permit requires us to remove.
Santa flush cleans your teeth without.
The other stuff, I'm not so sure of. I don't want to go there. But I think in your packet, there was an actual explanation. Probably do better than I. Let me see if it's from, I think, OSD, and there's a whole bunch of communications between the OSD and the doctor. So anyways, it's there, and you can read it at your leisure, and you can maybe ask more specific questions when he comes. Yeah, I will get him here and answer all your absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on, Section 5, contracts. First one is from DR Warren Enterprises, Limited Partnership for the office trailer rental.
Do we use it?
Didn't we already
Yes.
approve that?
Yes, we did.
We have a motion to approve.
We did approve.
Make a motion.
Wait, there's no place for us to approve it.
We already approved these, I think,
I think so
a
too.
month ago.
Yeah, at least.
It was a month ago, but I kind of remember approving it.
You've approved it.
Okay,
You
but
said that you had to keep it because you were letting the engineers use it and stuff.
I thought we went-
I think that's been done.
We talked,
again?
no, we talked about it at 525, and we hold it for the cost.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have the cost when we were looking at that trailer. We now have the cost of $650 a month.
Gee, I kind of remember that number.
a motion's made and seconded.
Who did that?
I did.
I did.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? To vote 500. Alpha Analytical.
Excuse me?
Alpha Analytical is the next item.
Make a motion, we approve,
What,
not to exceed
Sorry.
$31,000.
is this just a renewal, guy?
Yes, we do it every year, Alpha Analytical.
We held it
The
at,
cost.
because we wanted to make sure it would be held at 31K.
That's what it
Is
says
that
right here.
included in here now?
Yes, it is, so compensation, second line,
It is.
Well, I just wanted
first
to,
page, right there, right
I
inside.
wanted you to know that we discussed it.
Okay, I make a motion, we approve this?
May I have a second?
Second?
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote 500.
You're rushing her.
Jesus Christ, it's midnight, for Christ's sake, so we're turning
Last
into a friggin'
contract we
pumpkin.
consider is New England
Hey,
BioSA Inc.
if we got answers besides I don't know, they wouldn't take so long.
Now, this is, which one was this?
May I have a motion, please?
This is on,
BioSA.
Yeah,
I make the motion, we accept it.
Seconded?
Motion's made and seconded.
not to
This
exceed,
is, again, a renewal, guy?
yeah,
Yes, we use it
Okay,
every
thank
year.
you.
it's not to exceed 12,000 anyhow.
Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Vote 500. Next item is abatements. Sewer usage billing, let's see. Abatement application of $371.50 due to the water was shut off on the street for non-payment.
I make a motion, we accept this abatement recommendation.
Seconded?
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The vote, 500. Next item, superintendent's report.
All right, let me just get all this. I got a bunch of stuff here. No,
What's this
I'll
syndrome?
just move this right along. Mr. Chairman, I have Senegro's draft of the contract. It's actually almost done. We got some more to add to it. I'd like to get this done by the end of the year. I'm suggesting maybe have a meeting next week just for this or not. I don't know how
there
to
we go.
handle
He's
it.
discussing it.
But this is Senegro contract, and we're working in some details like collusion, taxes, and things that we have to work in as a community. This is their proposal. I think everybody has a copy of it, I think. I think you ought to read it and go over it. I think there's one here that says for Bernie, so maybe you didn't get one. I don't know, but this one says for Bernie on it.
Did you get it in your packet?
Yes.
You may have picked it up. You got, I think everybody should
No,
have it.
I have it. I just,
asking Bernie.
So I have one that says Bernie on it, so I'm thinking
You have it?
he didn't get it, he picked it up, whatever. This came in after the agenda was posted, so I can't.
So maybe after the packets were,
You know, so I can't discuss it, and I wish I could get a vote on it, but I can't, because time is of the essence. Our contract expires June 30th.
I make a motion that we accept the contract pending the additions you have to make to it.
I
This
think
is
that's
something that we
acceptable.
have to have. We need to be,
I need to move
stay
slow.
with these guys.
I have no choice.
We've been with them for some time, and if we don't get it in place, they're just as liable to say, okay, we're not gonna take it anymore. We've got 15 others now that are looking to get in here.
I'm going to go over that in a minute, because it gets complicated. You're absolutely right.
So, I mean,
It's
you know,
like
this
we
is
should have a
To me, it's a
contract.
no-brainer. You have to do it with backs against the wall. You don't have an option on where you're gonna put the damn stuff.
I don't.
You know, put it in gift bags and sending it home with people.
Nobody's bidding against them.
No.
under, I'll categorize that under unfinished business, because we've had them before us, and I've met with them myself. And so we've had a motion. Jim, you've made a motion. May I have a
Yes.
second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any concerns about the fact it's unfinished business and are running the contract? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote, 500.
then I make then recommend that we put this on the next agenda meeting to confirm our vote, since this was taken as unexpected business.
Okay,
So we affirm the vote at the next meeting.
We just keep working. Thank you so much.
because it was qualified, Jim qualified it that when you completed the negotiations.
So that's good. I don't know if this made your contract. I just got this from Senegro. As you know, we're having nothing but issues removing sludge, and I think we talked about that. And so when Socket is down, and it's no fault of Senegro's, they had a violation of the river, the DEM has shut them down, they're trying to get back in. So it's really affecting our ability. So this is a letter stating that. I'll get a copy to every member of the
You
board.
sent that to us, because you sent that to...
Did I send it? Okay, I thought I put it email.
Emailed it,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
I got
sent
an
it.
email.
Okay, good, good.
You copied us on it.
Yes, I sent it I wanted Mr. Bowen to see that. Good, I'm glad, because I know it didn't make your packet. So this is an important letter because it verifies, this also went to the EPA, DEP, that verifies that there is a major issue. This is not a joke, and we need help from the government, and we're not getting it. It's really disheartening to us because I'm liable for that sludge. And if I have no place to put it, what do I do with it? And they won't answer the question. Tomorrow, I sent a load to Maine today. I'm sending 2 loads to Maine tomorrow. It's pricey. It's done at a composting facility Senegro is hauling. Noonan's hauling for Senegro, and there's another company out of Maine that's going to be hauling. I'm going to try to do that all next week because I got to get rid of sludge. With Woonsocket down, I have limited options. I've called a couple of national companies. One's based out of Texas, and they have a subsidy in Schenectady, New York, they're going to get back to me. I want to have an option, because if Synagro has a problem in Maine or whatever, I want to be able to say, take it, because it is such a critical part of our operation. We're filling basins, it's creating a tremendous amount of odors, a tremendous amount of plant upset problems. I got to get rid of it. So that's where I am with it. I want the board to be aware, and I'll continue to ship out to Maine or wherever I can to make sure we can get rid of some of the sludge. So that's where I am with that. Anybody has any questions on that, I'll definitely answer them the best I can. So that's ongoing. So anyways, my list, I did cross a bunch of stuff off. The 61 Plymouth Ave backup is backed up by grease and rags. I think we talked about this 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago.
I'm sorry, which one?
The grease at 61 Plymouth Avenue.
The one that had 2 feet of shit in their cellar.
I think it was, Sandy recommended, it was recommended that we, but anyways, we submitted the bill to the insurance. It was $10,000 for the cleanup and $1,000 to replace appliances. We submitted to our insurance company. I talked to the adjuster. The adjuster's concerned because it says the town should not be responsible for backups due to baby wipes and grease, and that maybe the homeowner is responsible for their own cleanup because they're the ones that are putting it into the system. So they're going to vet that. Don't know where it's going to go. It's not my call, but that's our conversation, because we didn't create the problem. The problem is created by the homeowners that put non-flushables and grease down the drain.
Where was the pipe clog?
At the 8-inch main, between, you know where Cottage Street is? I think it's Cottage.
Was it in our main?
Yes,
or
our
their
main.
lateral?
Our main.
How often does the main get cleaned out?
We clean them, well, that's a good question. That one was cleaned 4 years ago. And we just completed all of Onset. We did, we just completed Indian Mound Beach. We just completed Jefferson Shores. We're on High Street right now, and we're working our ways again towards, we don't have the manpower to do any quicker. It's a long process. It takes about 1.5 years to do it one time through. You take away staffing, it just increases that time. So we're doing our very best.
How did you decide this one particular home was the culprit?
I didn't. We don't, what they're saying is that it doesn't matter who the culprit is. The grease and wipes weren't put in the system by the town. And I don't know who the culprit is. But what they're saying is that each individual becomes responsible for their own backup because it's not a town-created issue. Now, again, I don't know where this is going. They may pay. She indicated to me that they have a major concern paying the adjuster from our MIIA insurance company.
So every,
Okay.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
okay, every homeowner that is between this clog and their home is responsible for this blockage along this Plymouth Street
That's correct.
septic line. So everybody at Hamilton contributed to this blockage.
Over 4 years.
Everybody in
potentially.
where?
Hamilton.
Hamilton Beach.
So it comes from Hamilton Beach Town, Plymouth. That's where the blockage was, and it happened to flow into 61 Plymouth's cellar.
That we know of, because she's at her house early, she had some repairs done. Other people may open and find problems that we're unaware of, and I'm hoping they don't, but we don't know. As
On the
people open their summer
Just
homes.
past Swiss Nick, Swiss
Where's
Beach.
Plymouth?
You come down to Swiss Nick, you take a right to Plymouth to go to Hamilton, a left to go to Hamilton.
Maybe it's Pilgrim.
No, that's
Is it Pilgrim.
Pilgrim.
It's Pilgrim.
This,
Pilgrim.
Yeah,
but
it's
this house
Pilgrim.
was on Plymouth.
Pilgrim.
Yeah.
You mean-
Pilgrim.
It's Pilgrim.
It's Pilgrim.
Yeah, it makes more sense. It turns into Pilgrim
Just after-
off the shore.
Yes.
After-
exactly.
So this is after the
Smith's
Smith
Pump Station.
Smith Street pump
So
station.
it's
Could be part of,
all of Hamilton Beach?
Yes, all of Hamilton Beach, because it happened right after, I think there's a left just before the second part of Smith Street, there's a left. I don't know, I want to say like Pine Street or something, Turner maybe, I'm not so sure. There's a little left, then it goes into the peninsula, into the causeway, if you will, and then into Hamilton Beach. So
Okay.
that's where it blocked, right after that last left. I could look it up and give you that.
can
full
we
name.
work with Wareham Week or something to put an article together about the impact of this type of usage, poor usage of our septic system? I want to read something. This is for the record, because this is what we're facing. This is a Roto-Rooter bill to the Wareham Elementary School. How long have we had a school there? A year? So, they had to clean out sewer lines from manhole to manhole. Problem was abuse in the line. Wet wipes and feminine products backed up the sewer line in Wareham Elementary School. Now you tell me how many kids there use tampons? So they're telling me that there was a sewer backup.
Go in the bathroom right here, and look what the hand towels are made of.
Yeah. But they wouldn't have put those down the toilet. So what they did...
They're not supposed to put those down.
So this is called, a problem was abuse in the line. So if the adults at the Wareham Elementary School are throwing down wet wipes and feminine products, what are they doing, what's everybody doing around town? I would like to see some type of article created for Wareham Week to tell people, stop flushing your wet wipes, stop flushing your tampons. They don't belong in our sewer line. Look at this house on Pilgrim, who ended up with 2 feet of shit in her cellar. And who else is going to be impacted? I want to see this publicized. I want people to know that you're causing your own problems. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, I totally agree with you.
Oh my goodness, we have a headworks.
Publicizing it is
It's
one thing.
inefficient, probably 2 carts a day, and when it was working right, we'd do 3, 4, 5 carts a day. I was hauling the board constantly. We're constantly pulling it up because it's an epidemic, and we've been talking about it for years, and you're not gonna change the mindset of individuals. You're just gonna do it.
Trying to get some cards at the town meeting.
And bring them there and say, okay, this is what we're talking about.
This is what the problem is. This is why we're paying $6 million.
It's a serious problem, and not to beat a dead horse, but one of the factors I always promoted with the low-pressure system is that you become responsible for your house. So if you want to do that, fine, you have the backup, nobody else. And so with this, if we contribute, now everybody's going to pay the price for that individual or individuals that decide to violate. And that was one of my concerns, because we can't stop the problem. How do you stop the problem?
One of the difficulties is I was shopping for paper products, and there was a package, and it said flushable.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Everything's
They
flushable.
market it that way.
Absolutely.
Yes, they do.
Oh, yeah, they market it that way. The people think it's flushable.
Yeah, they are all biodegradable, but, and we went through a
Oh, I won't
guy,
go
I
that
won't
far.
remember, but I asked him when we went through, I think Bob will give you the tour of the plant. If I flush my toilet, how long will it take whatever was in that toilet to show up at Guy's facility? It's only a matter of half a day.
Half a day, and quicker if it goes right into Narrows, it's going to be in a matter of hours, because it cycles all the time, yes.
No. I'm just going out that door because it's short up.
So then you throw it away. In about 8 to 10 days, it might be biodegradable, but it's not.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
We're having a lot of, so that, so anyways, it's important that we know that, because I'll keep you up to date on the disposition of that claim. What'll happen if the insurance company denies it and she has to pay it? She may push back, I don't know. I just think we need to be aware, we may have to discuss this again.
Who said that it wasn't the town's problem?
The insurance, our insurance company,
Our insurance company.
our insurance company.
Okay.
Because the town didn't do it, we didn't contribute to it.
Have you informed the people at,
No, we just had a discussion. I won't do anything until I get disposition totally from the insurance company. This is a discussion.
what is the address of the person that was affected?
61 Pilgrim.
Okay.
I forget her name.
No, it's okay.
I forget her name, but 61, and she was, her property was hammered, and everybody contributed to that, and so she suffered. I mean, it cost her 10 grand to get the smell of sewer out of her house. I mean,
You'll see it, the brown footprints leading to the
I understand
mailbox.
where it all goes. I'm just trying to think of how she can get compensated without going to her neighbors and saying, hey, everybody kick in.
it's a tough problem, and
Yeah, it's a true, I don't know.
Yeah, too many hairs have to be split if you do that.
yep. Until it happens to you, not important.
Hasn't a suit been brought against some of these major companies?
I've seen something about labeling, changing the labeling. I've seen something.
I thought there was something happening.
Multiple.
Well,
They've
if we're
changed-
waiting for the government to bail us out, mother of God, we won't be using
Multiple.
sewers anymore.
Yeah, but if you were an immigrant, you'd get it. Legal, you'd get the money.
One other thing, can we put the missing minutes on our agenda in case something comes in?
Why, when are we missing now?
You want the,
We're still missing.
we're going
something? I
back
thought
to
you had
3,
it all done.
no, we're going back to 3:23. We haven't had minutes since 3.
We had them on the agenda,
And they
the
got-
last agenda, but we were at Swift's Beach, so we didn't do anything with
Yep.
them, so they just missed, they didn't get on this agenda, which
But they
should
haven't
have.
been submitted to even be considered. But if they're on the agenda and they come in, we're covered.
They were,
If they're on the agenda and they come in, they're covered. If they're on the agenda and don't come in, they just continue.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, that's it. I mean, I guess plenty of other things, but there's your memorandum on the pipe. So Peter, question I'll ask the board. We can't get any concrete information from the bullet liner from China. Should we just say we're not going to include them and be done with it and move forward and get this pipe done?
we're gonna have to, we gotta get it done.
Because I can't keep waiting. We can't get any concrete information from anybody.
Is this the $84,000 we spent?
Well, this is only a portion of it. Now we got to spend money to write an RFP, put it out, and I think we should move forward and spend the rest of the money to get all that done. But this first part of it, to try to vet it,
We've been fooling around with this thing now for 3 years.
I
We already
agree.
had the approvals to do it. It came back, the price was too high. We went back for additional money, and then we come up, and now we're starting to play games with 2 different liners. As far as I'm concerned, move ahead with the other one, throw that one to the wolves, because we're not going anywhere with it. We're not getting an answer.
Want a motion to make that determination, Jim?
While I totally agree
Whatever it
with you,
is, yeah.
Jimmy, I absolutely totally agree with you. If we put this out for a bid, and the contractor comes in using this Chinese liner, his bid will come in at the lowest, then we're forced to use them.
No, we can say, we can exclude them. We're going to exclude them.
We can
We can
exclude it
exclude them.
You can exclude it.
if it doesn't meet the qualifications of the,
Doesn't meet,
How can we exclude it?
Make a statement that there's one product that you want considered.
It has to be an approved product?
yeah.
yes, ASTM,
Okay.
ASTM, and they're not providing anything.
And we didn't put that in an RFP to exclude it.
No, we haven't done an RFP
We
yet.
haven't done an
We're
RFP
getting ready
for
to.
it. That's only
Thought
been-
we
they-
did one.
Back up there.
No, if you were paying attention.
No, the one we did 2 years
What
ago,
happened-
3 years ago? Yes, it wasn't in there 3
It
years ago.
wasn't in the one that
Not in the
we-
original, the one we
okay.
did a long time ago,
So-
because they didn't exist.
What happened is they were going out with the bid, with the original requirements, and somebody comes in with a, well, we've got this product you can use instead. That never was specified, that it was never approved anyplace along the line. They were trying to get information to see whether or not it was comparable
Yeah.
what we were using. We're not getting the information back, so ergo, it's not comparable.
Okay, so we
We've
put
been
out,
3 years in the making of this thing.
Yes.
And I'd just as soon see us get it done and over
So
with
when-
before we blow a hole in the line.
another
and it runs
RF,
into the river.
another RFP is done
We
specifically,
don't need another RFP, I don't believe. I
Yeah, we
believe-
do, because we have to specifically put language that will not allow them to come in. Like ASTM certifications,
Or-
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Stop them, so we're gonna write that RFP.
But we already submitted an RFP and you got a response back on it.
The ones years ago.
Yeah,
They're-
but,
Yes.
but.
The one that was
wait a minute,
above
wait
what
a
we
minute, it hasn't-
appropriated.
That's still active,
What's active?
that RFP.
No, it
It's
goes
old.
away. Once we, no, they don't go forever. Once we canceled it because it was above the money, we stopped it.
We
So it's done.
canceled it, we
Yes.
stopped it? Okay, so if that's
So
the
that's-
case,
yeah,
then
we
yeah,
did.
we have to go with another one.
You have to go another one.
Motion, Jim?
no, I think it's just,
Exclude or something of that fashion?
We don't, I think we should move forward on the line and get it done.
Okay.
It's,
Can we somehow recoup our $84,000?
I don't know how, but I don't know how, but I can.
Why I
look.
voted against that then?
Yeah. Well, no, the 84,000 being spent, that's part of it, but we still have to do the rest of it. We have to put out the bid, somebody has to vet it and make a determination legally if it meets or doesn't meet the requirements.
okay, the bottom line.
The
is-
original RFP was over what we had appropriated.
Yes, the
Okay.
bid dollars.
All right. Why can't we just go to that contractor and say, what is your bid? We now have enough money to cover it.
Because it's.
He was the low bidder then.
Yeah, but it's canceled. I wish I could. I cannot do it. It's, IG would shoot us. I can't do it. I can't do it. I hear what you're saying. I can't do it, Peter.
Yep,
I
disused.
can't do it.
So we have to start over.
It goes stale.
That's retired.
That
I
is
know,
the
but
word,
it's-
it goes stale.
I'm saying, you know,
The laws for procurement are very thick and
Come on,
detailed.
make a motion, Jimmy.
make a motion, we proceed with the lining of the Narrows forced main, put out a new RFP specifying the liner that we'll accept.
Second.
Second. Motion made, second. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed.
So the RFP is reissued with the specific liners required.
Are we,
Correct.
The liner excluded.
No,
We're going to exclude, we're going to,
Make money you can exclude, but as long as there are several others available.
that's right, we're going to exclude. We're going to exclude, because they have no certification, they refuse to provide it. So it has to have certification. Yes, because they won't provide it.
are you finished with Guy's report?
Yes, at this time, I think
Can I ask a question then? Under these bills payable, I see a lot going to Weston and Sampson. Can I ask you how much of that is for personnel to replace the personnel we don't have?
None.
Or this is all for different contracts?
This is all for repairs. They're doing repairs. So.
Okay, no, as long as it's not to replace personnel.
No, it's
How do we pay these replacement personnel?
what
Out of
budget?
what
Outside
budget does that come out
contractors.
of?
Weekend people?
No.
Outside
When
contractors.
we have a problem and he doesn't have the personnel, we call Weston and Sampson to cover for it. How do we pay them?
How much is that?
Out of operating budget, outside contractor.
Out of our operating budget?
Yeah.
So it comes out of the same budget that the personnel, our personnel would have been paid out of?
Correct.
A different
Okay.
line, a different
Now, I have
line.
one other question. We kick back to the town, is it 24%? For them to cover all of the insurance and workman's comp and pension and all of the
Let me
benefits?
give the exact number. We kick back, yes.
Is it 24%?
I don't know. It's in that area, but I can't give you specific. I don't have it
What
in
is
front of me, Peter.
that based on?
It's based on, so an example, we do an audit annually. They're saying that a percent of that audit is for the wastewater plant, so therefore the total cost, the percent of the audit for the wastewater is how they base our portion of the bill. So everything's based upon a portion. And the staffing, how much they work on our work. So if I do billing, the accounting office does billing. So they say how many hours, so we apportion their pay or whatever to those hours. So everything's percent, and the town breaks it down and gives us the bill.
So
Workman's
the
comp,
town
1%.
pays for Fed and FICA. That's what that percentage is. That's not in his budget, it's in the town's budget.
Comes out of the enterprise fund.
But we reimburse them. The enterprise funds reimburses the town
Right, we're paying
for
for it.
all of the stuff that they do for people that work
Yes,
for the enterprise fund.
yes.
Correct,
And it's a percentage.
correct.
And what I'm asking
So
is,
that's some 50, some
what is
5, yeah.
that percentage based on?
On average, 15% per.
How much work they do for us. That's what it's based on.
Bernie, can you get that number for us for the next
It
report?
was originally based,
Can you-
wait a minute, it was originally based on a survey that was done
Get an answer.
by an outside
while ago.
accounting firm, I can't think of it, down at Cape. They went through the whole thing. This was 20 years ago they did that, the
And what
last one I
was?
remember specifically being done. And they went through department by department, office by office, and came up with a percentage of time that each individual office spent doing work for the sewer department, came together, and that's what, that
It's 15.
resulted in the end result number, whatever that was.
It's 15%, and it published in the April town meeting. It's yearly, I can go back down to.
No. What I'm getting at is, we're supposed to have a complement of what, 16 people? We have 6, and yet we're still paying the same percentage back to the town. They have that much less pension money they're putting away, that much less FICA they're taking out, that much less insurance costs they're paying, and yet we're paying the same amount back to them.
We're not the only ones that are short-staffed.
That's not the point.
If you're supposed to have 10 people in another department, and you only
That's-
have 5, you're only paying them retirement and benefits are 5. And
That's fine if we were paying them directly, but we're paying the town that's paying them.
Is it a variable?
And they're not changing the percentage.
No, if they're at that department that's only 5, we're supposed to have 10, we're charging back 15% of those 5 out of the 10. And with
So the
their,
15% is based on the number of personnel we actually have.
based on a percentage
Of the salary we pay.
salaries.
So the 15% then is based on salaries being paid by the water commission, the water pollution control facility.
Counting, 15%, $30,243. Administration, 15%,
That-
33. That's where that money comes from. That's all. I just wanted you to see that because you asked
I-
what percent.
I think I'm not asking the question properly. If it's 15% and we have 30 people working, okay. If it's 15% and we only have 5 people working, the 15% is based on what it's actually costing the town.
If the town is only 5 people in that department, there's 15% of the salaries are charged.
That's not the way it looks.
Administration is 15%. How many personnel have we got in administration?
We still process bills every week. Whether I have 5 staff or 50 staff, we still process bills. So that's also, they
Yeah, but-
charge on that.
But what I'm getting at is, we're still kicking back the town to the other side of the parking lot,
Yes.
15%. Yet we have only got half the personnel
But
that we used to have.
that 15% is a variable rate. It isn't a constant every month. It is based on
It's
it's-
based on what?
what we have for employees that we're paying their salaries for.
If I have a salary line item for John Foster, maintaining the borough, he has 3 people there, and I'm charging him, or he's charging the enterprise fund 15% of his total staff.
I'm not worried about his staff, I'm talking about our staff.
Doesn't make it doesn't, it isn't charged in that way, Peter. Just because
It's-
we have
it's not
20
what-
people or 5 people, doesn't make any difference. We're charging the treasurer's office 15% of what their operating costs are, not ours. We could have 50 people, and we're only charging the treasurer's office 15%.
Can we see actual dollar amounts? Thank you. Because I don't think it's the same every month. I think it's a variable.
It's not enough, I give it yearly.
There's
Re-
your numbers.
But that's a budget.
Yeah, that's the budget.
I'm
So
not
that's-
see the
asking the
budget.
That's the
question, right,
annual
Bernie,
amount we
because
pay, so-
I
wanna
hear what
see-
you're answering, but that's not answering my question.
I understand.
They don't
Maybe
do it
because
weekly.
it's 9:30, no one's still thinking.
Yeah, but they don't do it weekly.
It doesn't vary per month either.
It doesn't, they just do it once a year. It's a flat rate, once a year. Yeah, that's all we pay. It's not monthly, weekly. It doesn't just, this is what, 15% of whatever that number is for salaries, and that's it.
So the line item on April is $2 million, 15% of that. And that's.
All right.
So I'll bring all the details for you. Like I'll
Yeah,
scan
that's how they do it,
send
once a
over
year.
to you.
The number that we're paying has gone down quite a bit over the last 20 years. Because it used to be paying, the sewer department used to pay 1.1 million a year.
That's, yeah, back in, yeah.
And what are we paying now?
863,000. It was, and then it was suspended,
So
and
yeah,
then it came
that's,
back, yeah.
you're saying it's directly proportional to how many people we
I have to
have.
move on.
No,
It's
it has nothing to do with
9:30,
how many
25.
But that's my point.
And
It should be.
It doesn't, it's not, that's just not,
I
it's
just
based on how much work do they do
involved in.
Yes.
Fellas,
It's not, I'm not
they got a
talking about
conversation
the work
going,
that
they're not
they do.
listening to you.
Jim, Peter, we'd like to continue on with the meeting, please. It's almost 10 o'clock. So I'd like to just run over a couple of things that I've been getting involved in as the chairman. One is the pump station down Nanamet Street. The
Yeah, I saw that.
complained about its condition.
The gardening.
There's the, that we talked earlier about the invoice regarding sewage, water, how you doing with the odor?
Once we get this, we're doing bad. We have full basins, and I can't empty them. And once we empty them, we'll start addressing it. We did order a misting system to put back online, so we're doing that. But it's not going to be the total solution. The key is to stop moving product and empty the basins.
I met with an outfit, Waterworth, continuous utility rate management. Not quite sure what they would do, and Guy and I met with them, we were on a Zoom meeting,
Correct.
and I've got the material.
Did I send it to you? That they sent me?
Pardon?
Did I send you it?
Yeah,
I
you-
want to make sure I sent it to you. I apologize. I just want to make sure.
And then GHD updated report for me, if you're interested in some nighttime reading. I sent you some highlights of it that they had outlined. What I asked for was an update of the 2015 report, and they gave it to us. We got, let's see, I've got a public records request form from Nora Vicky for minutes which are not posted, which is 323, 413, 5-4, 5-11, 5-25, and 6-8. And we had them, we met at Swift's Speech, we didn't address them then. We didn't have the meeting then. In fact, I didn't have the minutes.
Right.
They weren't.
We didn't have them with us.
We're in this one, but we haven't accepted them.
We haven't received, no, there's two other things on that list that Nora's asked for.
Open meeting, see if we're certified for the open meeting law, referred to at the beginning of the
Yep.
meeting, and the conflict of interest.
So everybody has theirs on file with the clerk.
I will double check that. And let's see, June 28th, been invited to go before the Finance Committee with the articles. Anyone would wish to join me? It's finance totally, so I don't think GHD has to be there. I talked with Judy today, Judy Whiteside, and she scheduled us. Well, I can't tell you that. No, it's not. I probably pressed the button. Anyway, I'll let you know what that date is. You're all invited to join, and GHD will join us also. We did Senator Borough, we did that. Next meeting would be, I'm going to turn it over to June. We're on the 22nd. That's
How about
today.
July?
Turn the pages, they're sticking together. July would be the 13th, is our next meeting.
Okay. And for the minutes, we have not received the minutes to even review.
No, we have not.
So we haven't, the minutes, if they've been created, they've not been shared.
I
So just listing them on the agenda doesn't give it a resolution.
No, we didn't take action on it anyway. If anyone, I'd like us to get together for a meeting that would be open. Any issues we want to concerned about, anything we want to go in back.
You want a workshop?
Oh, excellent terminology, yes.
And we've had them before. We meet at the sewer plant and have a workshop.
I'll schedule one. I would like to have one. I think it would be good, constructive. Any thoughts on that?
Sounds good.
Sound of interest? Anyone against? If you're against it, you bring the coffee. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you very much.
And it is 9:40 for the minutes.